I'm WWE Hall of Famer Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Tito Santana.
This is Kurt Angle.
This is Bret the Hitman Hart, and this is going out to Scott and Holly.
You are listening to the
Win Twice Wrestling Podcast
with Scott and Holly.
Oh, it's true. It's damn true.
And this holds for everybody. Ho!
Ladies and gentlemen, you are about to listen to the incomparable Win Twice Wrestling Podcast with your hosts, Scott and Holly. We always go over, brother, and that's the bottom line. Dig it? So sit back, relax, and prepare to be entertained.
You could say it was a gamble. August 29th, 1992, Wembley Stadium, London. Not Madison Square Garden, not Chicago, not LA, but London. At the time it was unthinkable. WWE, then the WWF, had never hosted a pay-per-view of that magnitude outside North America. WrestleMania? Stateside. Royal Rumble? Same story. But Summerslam? That was the one they chose to send across the Atlantic. Why? Because sometimes the smartest moves are the boldest ones. Vince McMahon saw something. He saw a market that wasn't just passionate, it was starving. British fans had followed American wrestling religiously, staying up late, clutching VHS tapes, idolising warriors in neon tights and face paint, who might as well have been mythic heroes. They were ready. And then came Bret Hart and the British Bulldog, two real-life brother-in-laws, set to clash not just for a championship, but for pride, for family, for national honour. 80,000 people packed Wembley to see it. Not just watch wrestling, to live it. It wasn't just a match, it was a moment. Bulldog walking out to that home crowd, Bret playing the heel and the hero all at once. The sunset casting golden light over a ring that felt like the centre of the world. WWE's decision wasn't just about ticket sales, it was a declaration. We are global now. It shifted the axis of wrestling's universe. It proved that pay-per-view could travel, that the biggest stages didn't have to be on American soil. It validated every UK fan who had ever felt like they were cheering from the sidelines. SummerSlam 92 wasn't just a show, it was a message. Wrestling belongs to the world, and in that moment, under the London sky, the world cheered back. Hello everyone and welcome to episode number 76 of the Win Twice Wrestling Podcast, alongside your hosts Scott and Holly. Holly, afternoon.
Hi.
That was a bit of a mouthful to start things off, wasn't it?
A little bit.
A bit different from the usual back and forth kind of happy-go-lucky start to the show, but I felt like with SummerSlam 92, it needed something different.
Okay.
So for you,
Yep.
probably, it's just a show.
Yeah.
For me, it's not. So for me, even though, don't get me wrong, with SummerSlam 92, everyone and their grandmother from the UK claims that they're at this event if they're a wrestling fan. Like, seeing as there were 80,000, legitimately about 80,000 as well, in that arena. I think about 400,000 people have claimed to have been there in person. So not possible. But I'm not claiming to have been there. But for me, this was the time frame where I was already engaged in wrestling. So I was born late 89.
Yeah.
From 18 months old, I started to watch wrestling. And I'd latched onto The Ultimate Warrior by this point.
Okay.
So it was interesting for me to watch this show back in its entirety, because I've seen bits and pieces. Well, I have seen the whole show in parts, maybe not as a one-off run-through. But to see how the UK audience grabbed onto Warrior, because there's something very American about The Ultimate Warrior to me.
Okay.
It's not a British personality, if that makes sense.
Sure, yeah.
Same with Hulk Hogan, to be fair. It's very much Americana, but Ultimate Warrior, I mean, as Brits, as Europeans, we're not particularly loud and outspoken individuals. So to me, it's a very much an Americanized characteristic, and I wouldn't have thought the UK fans would have necessarily latched onto that. But thinking of myself as a child, a very young child, that the fans throughout the audience, in a match against Savage, where neither are playing the heel, you would think that it'd be 50-50, or maybe even more Savage. But that crowd was pure Warrior, and it kind of, to me, it validated why, as a kid, apart from him having ridiculous toddler energy, that I was attracted to that type of personality in wrestling.
Okay.
And it was huge. It was so huge. And pretty much in that kind of opening introduction that I gave, there's so many points that are valid. Like Vince and the WWF saw the potential of the scale of show that they could have in the UK, because the UK fans, they loved it. I mean, obviously, Sky box office. I mean, if you think about all the pay-per-views before the network became a thing, they're forever shouting about, you know, Sky box office this and kind of all the pay-per-views, etc. internationally, but Sky and UK would always get a shout out. And it's because the market and the fan base there was absolutely rabid for it. I think at the time, some of the wrestlers that were frequenting the circuit, like Brett, would always say that he got great reception from UK fans, and I think a lot of the other wrestlers were. Obviously, the Bulldog goes without saying with him being British. Mm-hmm. But a lot of they might not have enjoyed the food while they're over here, because I'm sure that has been written in many of the wrestling autobiographies over the years about how crap the English food is, and, you know, so be it. But to me, this felt like a big show, and I know that it's actually been requested by a few people, although they haven't put it in writing for me to then read out as the show. But you might remember we met a gentleman, Daniel, at Progress. Mm-hmm. This was the show he said that we should cover. I think as well, I can't remember who, there was definitely someone else that mentioned that this is a show that we should cover, and it's one that I've had on my radar for a while, but for one reason or another, it didn't feel like the right time to put it out there, because in my head, I don't know why, it was like 4.5 hours worth of show.
Right.
And thankfully it isn't.
No.
Having said that, the pay-per-view isn't that long, but in the deluxe version with all the pre-show matches and stuff that took place, it's like a 5 and a bit hour show. Jeez. So we only saw the last 2.5 hours of that. And let's be grateful that they are the only 2.5 hours we saw of this show. I say it every time about putting the cart before the horse. There's good points. Yeah. Absolutely good points. There's some very questionable points here, and we'll get to the Virgil promo later. Oh, yeah. There are some shocking bits of backstage nonsense on this show.
Yes, there are.
Even by early 90s WWF standards. Mm-hmm. I didn't build it up to you as like a massive show. I did say I wanted to cover it. We've obviously got some audio that we're going to use later on as well as part of the show. Yeah. But did you have... What was your... Well, I know you're going to say the same thing. I didn't really know anything about it. Yeah. But was there anything about this show that you were aware of ahead of time, having now seen it for yourself?
No, I don't think there is, actually. I'll be honest.
Okay.
I think the only thing I knew about it was in London, and I only know that from the blurb on the screen when it comes up.
Yeah, that's fair.
But no, even having watched it, there's nothing that I saw that I recall seeing at a later date.
The main event for you was brand new.
Yeah.
Now this, to me, is going to be fascinating to see how you took it on, because basically, if you look at it from a historical context, the vast majority of people would say it was a really good match.
Yeah.
It's one of those ones for me where there are aspects of the match, watching it back, where I go, Holly won't like that, or Holly won't like this. But I've been wrong before. Mm-hmm. For the most part, if I'm having a guess at where you've landed on something, I feel like I'm close.
Well, we shall see.
And I don't know if this is going to be one of those exceptions where you go, bit shit, Scott. Bit shit, you've let me down. I'm very disappointed in you. We'll see me after class.
Maybe.
So we'll guess we'll have to see going into it. So, like I said, massive show.
Yes.
And I don't know how long this is going to take for us to get through in terms of, because I've got some pieces towards the end. There's a couple of stories that I don't want to say, well, we will discuss it in part, but again at the end. But there's some audio snippets from a couple of books where I've basically read verbatim from someone's text, which will make sense when we get there, about certain aspects of this show. And like I said, I'm interested to see if that, I guess a little bit tarnishes your perception of certain individuals on the show.
Yeah.
I guess time will tell.
Yeah,
time will tell. Firstly, though, I say firstly, this is about the third firstly that I've had since I've started, but okay, we'll go thirdly or fourthly, wherever we are. There's something really nostalgic for me about seeing old Wembley.
Okay.
Because I don't know, when you've been to Wembley, obviously I've been to Wembley with you. When you first went to Wembley, was it this version of Wembley or was it the modern version? Okay, so same as, and there's something really antiquated about it. Just looks it looks oldie worldy in many respects. Whereas compare it to the modern stadium, it's night and day. Yeah. But there's something very, it plays on the whole nostalgia thing to me when I think about like old FA Cup finals from years gone by. Just great football moments throughout history, World Cup '66, all this stuff comes into mind. And I remember when Wembley Stadium was being knocked down for a new one to be built, I was gutted. I would have been, 11, 12 when it changed? And I remember just being like, why? Obviously, it made so much sense because you can get so many more people in to the stadium as it currently stands, and obviously it's got all the mods and cons. But seeing old school Wembley, because I don't think we're really going to get an opportunity on another show that we review where they've cut, in fact, I'm almost certain, where they held it in Wembley. So I think this will be a standalone moment.
Okay.
And the layout of the building, the way they had it, granted, the aisleway was long as fuck.
Yes, it was.
But I liked it.
Yeah, I thought it was good.
Yeah, I liked it. The weather held up, which is always a
Yes,
bonus.
Yeah.
Because that's the only thing where we talk about, will London ever get a WrestleMania? Probably not in April, to be honest.
Yeah, true.
Because it's different if you've got a stadium where you can then close
Put
the roof on it.
Yeah.
Which I think, is it the Millennium Stadium has got that capability in Wales? But Wembley doesn't, and I always thought it did for some reason.
I thought it did, but
But I've never seen it happen, so I
No.
assume it doesn't.
guess
Which is a
not.
shame, because Wembley is definitely the best equipped stadium. Oh, you could say the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, maybe?
Mm-hmm.
North London, I know that's got good capacity, all the mods and cons. I don't know if that's got a retractable roof or what, but
Gosh.
I feel like we need to make it happen somehow. But SummerSlam, if you're going to hedge your bets, if you're looking at their big shows, so you've got Survivor Series in November, or October, November. You've got SummerSlam in like August time.
Yep.
WrestleMania in April. Fuck Royal Rumble in January.
Yes, absolutely not.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense. And thankfully the weather held out, so they've got a kind of a perfect record on that front. Because it did look like it could be a bit ropey at points in terms of the cloud coverage.
Okay.
I thought. So I'd have been very concerned.
Yeah.
I think did they even have like a cover over the ring? They didn't really, did they? They had the kind of structure, but I don't remember it having a roof over it.
No, I don't think there is, because I think later on there's a bird's eye view.
Yes, and
it
you're
looks
straight
pretty good,
down.
and you can just see straight into the ring, so I don't think so.
No, okay, right. So aesthetic, tick.
Yeah, I like it.
So let's get into the show.
Let's do it.
I've gone right back to the beginning of my notes, which was a mistake, but here we are. The first thing that we see is the classic WWF logo and the word SummerSlam. Surprising that. Emblazoned across an all-black background. They're going simplistic, and they go like pretty early off the bat. They don't give much fanfare like they do for some other shows. The voice of Vince McMahon informs us that this edition of the Summer headliner is brought to us by IcoPro, and I've just realised that I've skipped past some key information, because of course the date for this show was the 29th of August 1992. Venue, as we've mentioned several times, was Wembley Stadium in London, England. Attendance, this is what it says on Wikipedia, 78,927.
Okay.
So they were claiming on the night 80,300. So relatively speaking, they're not actually that far off, to be honest. Although later on it becomes 83,000, and then it always grows.
86,
Turns out there were more people.
95.
I wonder if they go, well, do you know what? There were 78,000,
Yeah.
but by the time we actually said this version of the story, there were some couples there.
Oh,
They'd
okay.
copulated,
Sure.
they'd had a bit of whoopee, and they had now produced more human beings. And we've been tracking these people just by going through the turnstiles.
Yeah.
We've got their digital fingerprint, and way ahead of the time. Way ahead of time.
Of course,
They predated the internet of this.
Of course.
It's like CSI WWF right here. And we've been able to track the population, and these people have now become 83,000.
Makes sense.
Does it?
Yeah,
Good.
definitely.
Because I wasn't buying what I was
think
selling, to be honest, but I'm glad it made sense to someone. We'll take it. The buy rate, 280,000.
Okay. No.
Well, no, I mean, but we're getting to the point in WWF where the buy rates are not great. And also what we have to remember here
Yes.
is that this was...
Most people are there.
What do you mean?
Well, the people buying it are there.
Fair enough. Well
All
done.
the 400,000 people that went.
No, but if you think about the buy rate, it's based on the US audience, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
US audience, this would have been what time for them?
Nighttime? Daytime?
There it is.
Morning?
Yes. So it would have been much earlier in the day for them.
Oh,
And I don't think they were equipped to then necessarily buy it and watch it there and then. I don't know if they try to keep the results relatively discreet and then show it live later on, but people are always going to find out the information, even back then in the early 90s, if they want to. So I think that might have impacted on the overall buy rate, if I'm being honest. Having said that, I didn't go into any in-depth research on the shows that predated it and post-dated it to see if it was in keeping, but I'd be willing to bet it was slightly lower.
Okay.
Tagline. You love a tagline.
I do.
And I heard Vince mention it during the show, so I know you don't listen to the commentary, but you might have picked it
I
up.
don't when it's his voice, no.
Well, yeah, fair. The SummerSlam you thought you'd never see.
Oh, yeah, I did. did note that down.
And based on 280,000 people, yeah, a lot of people didn't see it, actually. So a lot of people thought they wouldn't see it and then didn't see it. So there's that. But yes, as I was saying, so the voice of Vince McMahon tells us that it's brought to us by IcoPro for everybody that cares about their body.
Cool.
We've covered IcoPro before in brief, haven't we?
Yes.
Tremendous. Like I remember, so Bret Hart was one of the people that the WWF got to kind of use in their marketing campaigns for IcoPro, and yeah, it's it's like a shit promo, and a Bret shit promo we know is shit. Yep. And he used to then get sent so much of the stuff, and he's like, I didn't like it, so I was literally dropping it off at neighbours' houses, and they were then bringing it back to me. Because they didn't even want it. So that's how good the IcoPro brand was. Wow. And it's safe to say it is no longer doing what it was back then. After the IcoPro screen fades away, we see the Union Jack flying high above Wembley Stadium as distinguished stereotypical British music plays. And it provides a lovely backdrop for the whole thing. The fans outside the arena, so this is earlier in the day that we're shown, all politely cheer, and we see one kid in particular has stolen Holly's heart by dressing fully as Macho Man Randy Savage with paper tassels and fake drawn-on beard.
Brilliant.
Yes. Is he an outfit of the night contender? Is he?
No.
Do you know what's mad? Man will be in his 40s now.
Just his 40s?
Yeah.
Wow.
So 92, so I would have been...
So he probably was,
3?
How old would you have said he was? Like 10?
No, I'd say 7, 8.
Do you think?
So I think he's got 5 years on me, so that's why I'm putting him around the 40 mark.
Okay.
But it's weird to think, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, God, time, you fickle bitch. We now get the opinion of some of the fans, the first of whom is a teenage girl who says, I think Mr. Perfect is going to be in Ultimate Warrior's corner today. So she was obviously let off from the cast of Oliver for the sake of this.
Yeah.
Because you've got to pick a pocket or two. Another teenage girl, this time of the ginger variety, disagrees and says that she believes he's going to be in Macho Man Randy Savage's corner. Not as much of an obvious, gee whiz, kind of attitude and general kind of accent that they had. We see more fans in full kit wanker modes, dripping in WWF merchandise. I'll be honest, I thought I was watching what's his name? Your boy singing the national anthem at Willie Nelson in full drip. They were putting him to shame. Yeah. They really were. I will, however, like to say a shout out to the fan wearing Ultimate Warrior face paint because that is spectacularly a good job. Very good. He has done very well there. A couple of tarts now take to the centre stage and they shout that they love Shawn Michaels. I imagine at this time he would have very much then loved the one in the middle as well. Mm-hmm. The next fan we see is a bowl haircut clad young boy who declares that the British Bulldog is going to win whether he wants to or not.
Which makes no sense.
A couple of things off the back of that comment. Firstly, that would suggest that if the Bulldog didn't want to win, he'd still win, which is because he's that good. He just cannot lose. Makes no sense.
No, it doesn't.
Because if I didn't want to win, I just would walk out.
Yeah.
Like imagine Bulldog's going, I don't want to win this, walks out and then goes, oh shit, and the force kind of sends him back into the ring. Magnet. I just like the fact that, but the kid's so committed, he's finger pointing to the ground, wearing Hitman's Heart's colours, I'd say on that, pink and black. Yeah. But
controversial.
Very much so. Very much so. Also, he'll still win, I guess, would suggest that the kid has actually seen the booking sheet for the event. So maybe he knew that the Bulldog actually didn't fancy it, but he saw the booking sheet and went, oh shit, he's going to win whether he wants to or not.
Well, maybe.
So, yeah, maybe that is... Was that Shane McMahon? Oh. As a blonde 7-year-old English child.
Wow, incognito.
Yeah, well, it fooled everyone. It fooled everyone. I must admit, I do like the idea of Bulldog being so talented that even when he doesn't want to win, he fundamentally has to win. We now get a Bulldog chant and see one gentleman in his 40s doing a pretty decent bushwhacker impression, if you ask my opinion. More fans make their way down Wembley Way, a route that your co-host and I have also taken on the way to see AEW in person. Yep. Royal trumpets now begin to play as we get footage of a royal procession and shots of Big Ben and the Houses of Parliament. It becomes evident that these trumpet players are actually in Wembley Arena, and trumpet players isn't a euphemism for something, just in case. As we now see the sold-out stadium ready and waiting for Summerslam 1992 to begin. And that typo that I told you that it always makes for SummerSlam is there, and I'm glad I caught myself before I said it. Holly.
Yes?
For as nice as the modern newly built Wembley is, there's something painfully nostalgic about it. I said it to you before, I'll say it again. You don't care, do you?
No, not really.
Okay, so I've got what are your thoughts here. I'm just going to draw a line through that, actually. What are your thoughts? She doesn't give a fuck. Doesn't give a fuck? Is that what you said?
I don't really care. I'm indifferent.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah,
that's fine.
It's just not.
I wasn't sure if that's one of those things that would crack your ice heart or whatever you'd say.
No, my cold little heart is
that's the one,
still
cold little
cold.
Heart. Okay, fine. No, not even a flicker of a pulse there at the moment.
Nope.
Let's see what we can do as we go through the show. I will say this, it looks like a great atmosphere and a nice additional touch is that the weather is actually on form, which you could never back with the UK, so that's good. In old Blighty, as I put. Vince McMahon welcomes us to the grandeur, the spectacle and the pageantry of Summerslam. And then an on-screen graphic appears that features the show logo momentarily before shooting off into the distance. Sadly for us, McMahon is in full, the pageantry, the grandeur, SummerSlam.
He's so annoying.
It's like he can't get deep enough. Honestly, I'm not talking about in a sexual way, because I've seen text messages. I know that man can go deep in every respect. But yeah, he can't modulate his voice to reflect the situational circumstances. No. Even when he's
irritates me.
Because I know I've touched upon it before, but he's shouting, but the volume doesn't change.
It's just shrill.
Yeah. It's like me doing this and then suddenly going down here. I'm not talking any louder. I've just dropped the bass into the voice. Very strange, Vince.
Very annoying.
Miss him on commentary. No?
No.
Oh, all right, fine. No. I was actually saying about me, but okay, that's fine. No, it's fine. I'm not allowed it either. That is absolutely fine. Down at ringside we go, where we see Vinnie Mac standing alongside the impeccably dressed Bobby the Brain Heenan. Holly, I know we have a segment at the end of the show for your outfit of the night, but what were your initial thoughts on this ensemble that the Brain is wearing?
Amazing. Great.
Was it delivering a little bit of what was lacking by Jess not being there?
Yes.
And in Heenan we trust. I've said that from the start. He started to win you over a little bit on the last show.
He did.
I don't think he does anything offensive enough on this show to swing you off him, but I don't know if he'll have garnered any more of your love in the process.
I see.
I think I've got a couple of his comments on here, so we'll see as we go through. Vince continues to welcome us to Wembley Stadium in London. Bobby turns his back to him to place a crown on top of his own head. Holly's laughing.
I liked it.
Vince stops dead in his tracks and inquires with Heenan why he has a crown on his head.
Why not?
Exactly, why not? The Brain calls McMahon a stupid little peasant, and that from now on he is known as Sir Bobby. And he's now the King of England. Apparently Henry VIII would be rolling in his grave if he could see this. So
rolling in his grave.
Well, he was a big man.
In his grave. He was rolling.
He's a big man, to be fair. Did you know Henry VIII exploded after he died?
Shocking.
Because of
Not surprising.
Well, okay, all right.
All over the stuff.
We've all covered the Tudors.
Yeah, I mean,
could you imagine that? Just going,
long time ago.
Got to do that. Like, I mean, to be fair, it's like what, the late 1500s, early 1600s. It's not a great time to be a mortician, I'd imagine, in general. And going, I've got my 3 o'clock appointment. Who is it? Oh, the King. You go in there, go, he's on the fucking ceiling.
All over the place.
I don't know if we've invented ladders yet, boys. Can we? Who's getting that?
He's all over the gaff.
Exactly. Oh, Christ! Imagine. That's enough to make you quit, isn't it? Think about your career choice.
Yeah.
So yeah, apparently he'd be turning in his grave. Personally, I think Bobby is the least of his concerns on a night such as tonight. Vince says that the only thing royal about Bobby is that he is a royal pain. Good one. This mantle has since been taken over by Prince Andrew, of course. Holly, tag team idea, Jerry the King Lawler and Prince Andrew, tag team name The Filthy Bastards. Thoughts?
I knew it was coming.
Thoughts?
Oh, God.
Well,
Heenan
had a crown. I'm just saying. Where was else I supposed to think?
Yes.
Okay, Filthy Bastards. I think that's tag team.
Okay.
One can't sweat, the other likes getting sweaty.
Yeah, okay,
so it's very yin and yang. Very yin and yang. I've added a G on the end of yin there, so that's how excited I was with it. Vince asked Bobby who Mr. Perfect will be siding with this evening. Now, if there was a theme throughout this night that I couldn't give a less of a shit about, I think it's fair to say it's this one.
Yes, I'd agree.
Who did you think, well, having said that, all joking aside, whose corner did you think they were going to be in?
God.
Because if any time you were going to care, it's going to be at this, the first time it came up.
I would have assumed Savage.
he does strike me as more heel. Like, it's hard to think of Warrior as a heel.
Yeah.
Was he ever a heel? I don't think he was he? Even in WCW, he came in as a face. That went well, by the way.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine. So I just assumed that's what would happen. However, after hearing about it for the 500th time, didn't really give a fuck.
I mean, I'll be honest, Holly's not doing it justice, because 500 times is how many times she listened to it. It went on for at least 862.
Yes, I know.
It was ridiculous. Although, I will say that Mean Gene getting animated about it later, fine.
Yeah.
Because he was getting irate for the wrong reasons, but because he was getting irate, I gave him a pass on it. Yeah, exactly that. So he asks who he thinks he's going to be in, and in response, Heenan raises his forefinger and screams, "Woo!" Mm-hmm. So he's in Flair's corner? Oh. Well, yeah, I guess he is in some respects. I hear a groan. Oh no, that is just Holly as the entrance music for the first participants in the opening contest plays throughout the stadium. I haven't actually written down the full match here, but I remember what it is.
God.
So, Holly, who was in match number 1, please?
So it was a tag match.
It was.
And it was, I'm so bored of saying this man, $1 Million Man and IRS.
And?
Fucking Jimmy Hart, piss off.
Come on, baby!
Legion of Doom.
There you go. Now that's a reason to get slightly excited.
Thank God.
So Money Inc. with Jimmy Hart, as Holly so eloquently put, although she was groaning, sighing and crying at the same time while saying it, against the Legion of Doom. Holly, correct me if I'm wrong, but is Jimmy Hart accompanying Ted DiBiase and IRS a shit sandwich where both the bread and the filling are comprised solely of shit?
Yes.
Okay, good. I will hear nothing but compliments for the suit being worn by Mr. Hart and the $1 Million Man for that matter. That's probably as good as either of them are ever going to look, in my opinion.
Okay.
Love the white suit, even though I know it's a stripper one.
It is a stripper suit, isn't it?
But you can't tell. To be fair to him, on this occasion, you can't tell as he's coming down to the ring, so I'll allow it. Heenan informs us that when the Bank of England are looking for a credit line, they come to Money Incorporated. Not bad. When they reach the ring, IRS grabs the microphone from Howard Finkel.
Boring.
I didn't even have to snore there. And he declares that it's a well-known fact that if the British tax cheats would pay their fair share, we wouldn't put the burden on the royal family. We got free medical care. What you got?
Yeah, I know.
You better hope you don't. Honestly, I mean, especially at the time, it's an industry you don't have pension. Fine, they're probably better compensated now than they were then.
Yes.
But if you broke your leg, fucking, you're getting taken out back and shot. Mm-hmm. But did you know, actually, funny enough, a lot of the wrestlers at the time had out insurance with Lloyd's of London.
I did that.
So they were insured and the payouts were good. Ooh. To the point where Rick Rude, when he was off with, I think it was a back injury, which ultimately saw him out of his career, he was collecting on it, and it was more value to him to stay injured and not wrestle than it was to ever go back and wrestle. Wow. I mean, don't get me wrong, he couldn't at the end. The back injury that saw him off was a bad one, and I saw how he actually dicked it over, and it's not pretty. Right. It's in a match with Sting. Sting goes over the top rope. Rude catches him, but it's like on a raised platform ring, and Rude catches him high and goes down backwards, and his back bends the wrong way.
No.
Yeah, it was horrible. No. And then he just doesn't move. It was brutal. I'm sure he'd already had a lot of back injuries going to that point, but still, I would still be there now. Like, it would be game over. Okay. Wasn't good. I've got Lloyd's of London. That's where I was going with that one. I didn't even write that down. That's just something that I thought was worthwhile noting. And I thought about the credit line that Heenan raised earlier was interesting. We are a burden to the royal family. That's definitely how it works. Safe to say, IRS does not know how the system works over here, but he tries, bless him. We now get a lovely change of pace as we hear, "Oh, what a rush!" And after the German comments that he made at the last Saturday night's main event that we covered, I'm absolutely fine with the Legion of Doom doing whatever they want at this point in time, except for one thing. We'll get to that in a second.
Oh.
Holly, they don't just make their way down to the ring in any old fashion.
Nope.
No, they're heading down to the ring on motorbikes. Leading the duo to the ring is Paul Ellering, and Holly, what is that I spy on the front of his bike? Mm-hmm. That, my friend, is Rocco, a ventriloquist dummy. Why would the Legion of Doom have a dummy as a fucking mascot? Well, let me tell you.
Oh, okay.
I've got to click on this link because I didn't want to actually copy it down. So if this doesn't work, it's gone very badly.
Oh dear.
So you've got to fill time here. I've got there, don't worry.
Okay.
Oh, no, got to accept the cookies. I'm always accepting cookies. Honestly. I was a paedophile streamer growing up.
Essential cookies. All of them.
Oh, there we go. Accept all. Here we go. So I am going to go straight to how did Rocco join the Road Warriors? And yes, Holly, this does come straight from The Sportster. In 1992, Hawk and Animal, known in WWE as the Legion of Doom, lost the WWE World Tag Team Championships to Money Inc. After this, they took a brief break from appearing on WWE television. During this time away, WWE planned to bring in their longtime former manager, Paul Ellering. Ellering had played an immensely important role in the rise of stardom of the Road Warriors, which is true in Jim Crockett. It was a winning formula that had proved to be effective time and time again across a number of different promotions where Hawk and Animal had wrestled prior to WWE. Of course, they were in AWA as well. However, WWE did not plan on bringing in Ellering alone. In a series of video vignettes that aired to hype up the Legion of Doom, it showed Hawk, Animal and Ellering walking through the streets of Chicago. It was here where Rocco was introduced to fans and the Legion of Doom. He was meant to be a source of inspiration for the duo on their road to domination in the WWE. Gets better. Rocco sported a leather jacket and sunglasses. In addition, he also spoke. Did he? Did he? Okay. While the WWE in the 1990s did indeed feature a number of comedic characters, Rocco felt very out of place with the Road Warriors. The duo were already over and extremely popular. Rocco's time with the Legion of Doom was short-lived. Surprising that. His most significant moment came at Summerslam 1992 when he rode down with Ellering, Hawk and Animal on motorcycles for their match against Money Inc. at Wembley Stadium. While the Legion of Doom did win the match, spoiler alert, Hawk was gone from the company for a while following it. Animal, in the meantime, continued to wrestle for WWE.
With the puppet.
As for Rocco, he never appeared in WWE again. Yep. However, he was not written off television in a dramatic fashion. Instead, he was lost during travel at an airport. I've got some more for you on that as well. While speaking with Wrestle Talk TV, Animal said of Rocco, that puppet got mysteriously lost at the airport. I'll tell you that right now. After SummerSlam, that thing was gone. They did the puppet because Hawk and I sold a lot of action figures. They were trying to find a softer side of the Road Warriors. We have spiked shoulder pads on, so that was kind of, I get it to a point. No way you're going to find a softer side to the Road Warriors. It was their idea and Hawk and I hated it. Hawk's hatred for Rocco also played a significant role in him leaving the WWE after SummerSlam, and it may or may not be the reason how the dummy got lost. He definitely didn't smash it to pieces and throw it away. While Animal and Hawk despise Rocco, Ellering holds a different view. He did not hate the concept, but thought that the execution of it was poorly done. He said on the Two-Man Power Trip of Wrestling podcast that, I thought it was a great concept, but there wasn't enough creative to give it what it needed to grow. Look at Bray Wyatt. Don't imagine comparing, by the way, Bray Wyatt to a fucking ventriloquist dummy. That's like comparing Bray Wyatt with, his dad, I guess, really, who was also in this match, funnily enough. They did all that kind of stuff with the dummy like that, but it has to be kind of development. You had all those Chucky movies at that time, but it didn't grow. You can do a lot with it. Everybody was so interested in selling merchandise. That was to be a softener and humanise them. Ultimately, Rocco was more about making money and selling merchandise than he was about elevating Hawk and Animal, and Ellering does provide a valid point. The idea of a wrestler utilising a ventriloquist dummy could have been one that created intrigue and could have been an interesting story. I strongly disagree.
No, thank you.
However, the Road Warrior, unless you are actually playing the gimmick of a ventriloquist, which I weirdly want to see now, who would do well? Chad Gable, probably. I reckon he could turn his hand at most things.
Okay.
And start with a shh.
Yeah.
Silencio! However, the Road Warriors were not the team to be booked with it. It caused issues that resulted in Hawk leaving the company out of anger. Ultimately, nobody benefited having Rocco with the Road Warriors during his short-lived WWE run. So, Holly, I just wanted to give you a little bit of background on why the fuck they came out with a dummy. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
What did you think was happening when you saw that?
I genuinely was like, what is going on? Am I watching the right thing? This is so bizarre. And it just made them look like less.
Oh, absolutely.
And
it doesn't
just
add.
It was odd.
I think they're lucky they came out with the bikes.
Yes.
Because the bikes added something for the
And
dummy
then they
to
took
take
it
it
away.
Yeah, so put it this way. Right, okay, so if we're looking at like a graph, okay? So at 100%,
Yeah.
you're talking Legion of Doom.
Yeah.
Okay? Add the bikes. I'd say 125% Legion of Doom. I think it gives 25% to them.
Okay.
Rocco, minus 40%. So you're getting about, 75, 85% Legion of Doom. So it kind of balanced out, but it's still a lesser version of if they just came out.
It was just pointless
Oh.
as well. She didn't add anything.
I genuinely think it's like revisionist history for Ellering, because there's no way you can look at that and think, do you know what, there's something here. I'm open to a lot of wrestling ideas. That is not one of them.
No.
And then you see, I'm going to mention it during the match, but you see him at ringside going, please don't do that.
No.
You thought fucking, what's more annoying, Bill Alfonso with a whistle, Jimmy Hart with a megaphone, or imagine hearing Paul Ellering being mic'd up with the dummy? Imagine the dummy runs it close, you know.
It would. If that was the case,
Yeah.
it probably would.
God almighty. Heenan, the dummy is driving the bike. Bit harsh on Ellering there, but there you go. In spite of the stupidity that was Rocco the dummy, the Legion of Doom still get a spectacular reaction from the fans, and their golden shoulder pads are nothing short of fantastic. I'm a traditional red and black shoulder pads guy for Legion of Doom, even an all black number from the NWA, AWA days. Well, I'll tell you what, the gold was good.
Like the gold.
Gold was good. It went with the royal theme.
Big time. Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah.
So you think that is like them elevating?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll see if they're on the end of the show list. The bell sounds as the brain asks if Rocco has a last name, because attention to detail is key, Holly. Starting this one off is Hawk and Ted.
Boo.
Sounds like a kid's book, that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Hawk and Ted's Adventures. DiBiase. Oh, sorry, the Boo, of course. Of course, the Boo. And Ted DiBiase, but it takes a while for them to engage as the fans are still in full support of the Legion of Doom. It's a great reception. The cameras do a close-up of Paul Ellering, who has his hand well and truly up the pipe of Rocco as the dummy is saying, LOD! LOD! It's borderline Mickey Mouse at times.
Yeah.
Mine was, certainly,
Yeah.
but Paul Ellering, oh dear.
Nope.
Don't do that.
No.
It doesn't take much encouragement from Hawk for the fans to begin shouting LOD as well. Soft collar and elbow tie-up, from where Ted lands a knee to the midsection and a pair of knife-edge chops. I think it goes without saying, but I will ask you anyway.
Yeah.
Whose side were you on?
Legion of Doom.
So you were supporting Rocco. I appreciate it.
No.
No, you have to. You can't take
that's
all.
fine. Over the megaphone.
I would rather be wearing that suit and have that megaphone than have my hand up Rocco. But you can't. I giveth and taketh. You get the
Yeah.
Legion of Doom, but I give you
fine.
a Make-A-Wish kid that's come along for
I
it.
would rather have Legion of Doom over $1 Million Man and Jimmy Hart.
I think you're your own problem on this one, because you jinx yourself, I think, because as soon as you say, I canny stand, insert X person.
We watch them in every single show.
100%.
Yes.
I mean, the first when you started going about how much you hate Jimmy Hart, TNA, he appeared in.
I know.
And that shocked even me.
Oh, I know.
So just for God's sake, if you don't like him,
So
don't
if I
mention
start saying that I can't bear watching Randy Orton and Jeff Hardy and all these other people, then they'll come like...
Again, you started talking about Al. How excited were you at the first WrestleMania with Lord Al Hayes? We didn't see him again for ages.
I know.
Well,
Yeah.
Lord Al.
Yeah.
Al, you're the gift that keeps on giving. Face first into the buckles goes Hawk, but he reverses a whip and looks to land a big right. But DiBiase hangs onto the ropes and drags himself underneath and down to the outside. Holly shaking her head. The $1 Million Man makes a bad decision as he paces around the ring, as when he pauses to talk smack at Hawk, he is clobbered from behind by Animal, who then returns him into the ring. I even wrote it right, I just said it wrong.
Little things just make me happy.
Clobbered? Yeah,
Like
it's
that.
good. It sounds like a
good
word. It's not a word.
It's like flubber.
Oh,
Like clubber.
Clubber Lang.
Right.
There you go. Now DiBiase has a few words for Animal and takes his eyes off the prize, as when he returns he is immediately clotheslined over the top and down to the floor once again. He gets to his feet where he is met by a charging Animal who also delivers a clothesline on the floor. Holly is full approval.
Very happy.
Full
at this
approval.
point. Yep.
Back in the ring, and the crowd begin another LOD chant as Ted backs off in his corner, where he makes the tag to... IRS. Hawk points to Animal to see if the fans want to see him, and clearly they do, as the tag is made a moment later. Collar and elbow tie-up is immediately broken, courtesy of a knee to the gut from IRS. That's what he should have done. He should have changed his gimmick while he was over here.
So true.
That would have been great.
Yeah.
Face first into the buckles goes Animal, and he eats a big right hand, but reverses the corner whip, sending IRS into the buckles hard, causing him to whiplash down to the canvas. As IRS looks to slither out, brilliantly, Animal stands on his tie and pulls him to his feet with a massive peanut.
Brilliant.
Where he delivers a stiff kick and incredibly impressive press slam. The cover is quickly broken as Animal turns his attention to the $1 Million Man, who made his way into the ring. No contact is made, and he returns to the apron, allowing Animal to return his focus to IRS, who he applies an arm wringer to. Tag made to Hawk, and he climbs to the top to deliver an overhand right to the left arm of his opponent. Arm lock applied, but when IRS returns... What? Okay, returns to his feet. He writes... Oh my god, this is awful, this sentence. I'm going to read it as it is, then I'll put what I actually said. Arm lock applied, but when IRS returns to his feet, he rakes the eyes and looks to apply a sleeper hold off a whip. What it actually says... Arm lock applied, but when IRS returns Swiss feet, he rights the eyes and looks to apply a sleeper hold off a whip.
Swiss feet.
Swiss feet and rights the eyes.
I like that.
Yep, Swiss feet was particularly good. Because obviously I said twist feet, but I said it so quickly that the audio thought I said that, but there we go. Hawk begins flailing his arms as Jimmy Hart makes Holly wish she didn't like wrestling on the outside with his megaphone. Holly, what is more annoying, Jimmy Hart or Rocco?
Jimmy Hart.
Yep, just about. Hawk looks to be fading as he drops to one knee. Another monstrous LOD chant from the crowd looks to potentially rejuvenate him, but no. Rejuvenate the fan favourite, but Holly, please could you do the honours?
He's asleep. He's asleep. He's awake.
I miss when we don't get to do that on a show, you know. Hawk runs back first into the buckle, squashing IRS before whipping him across to the opposite corner and connecting with a clothesline. Up to the top goes Hawk, but IRS ducks and he misses the flying clothesline, causing him to crash down to the floor on the outside. Pretty good tumble, that.
It was.
DiBiase is quickly on him and runs him face first into the ring apron before delivering a body slam to the blue mat. He lands very delicately and I respect it. Paul Ellering begins to march after gobshite Jimmy Hart as Hawk has sent into the ring apron one more time before being returned inside. DiBiase scores with a forearm before introducing Hawk's face to IRS's boot. Tag made. Back first goes Hawk into the buckles before he is snapmared down and hit with an elbow drop on 3 occasions. Hook of the leg only gets 2 and the kick out sends IRS cleanly over the official, making the count. That was good.
It was, yeah.
Heenan says that you can never beat up the Legion of Doom enough. When he's challenged on this point by Vince, he simply says, they're just fun to beat up.
Oh.
Fair. Tag back to the $1 Million Man, who once again rams Hawk face first into the turnbuckle on 2 occasions before tagging back out to IRS. I will say, because I don't think I make a point of it, I don't think I've ever seen any member of Legion of Doom take this much of a beating in a match I've ever seen.
No.
Because they usually no sell, get on, do something else, whereas Hawk was made to look vulnerable here.
It was.
And oftentimes it was, well, no, they do both come in as the kind of hot tag and then clear the ring, etc. But oftentimes I've seen it's Hawk that comes in with a high energy because he'll then go to the top and jump off, and whereas Animal's more brute force on his feet. So I actually kind of enjoyed it from that aspect, weirdly. Reverse chinlock applied and Hawk is brought down to a seated position on the canvas. To the brain, he doesn't look much like a hawk, he looks more like a big, dirty pigeon. No tag is made as Animal enters the ring, allowing DiBiase to exchange places with his partner. Animal doesn't learn his lesson on the first occasion and makes the same mistake, allowing IRS to return to the chinlock for his team. Legal tag this time to Ted, who kicks Hawk right in the face and connects with a knee drop that earns a near fall. Face first into the buckle goes Hawk again, but on the second attempt he blocked it and returned the favour to the $1 Million Man. Unfortunately for Hawk, Deebs makes the tag before he can reach his own corner and IRS cuts him off. Big right hands and forearms by the suited and booted one, but he misses a clothesline and gets levelled with one from his opponent. Both men are down. As before, Hawk is not quick to recover and cannot make it to his corner before the tag is made by the opposition. Knees to the chest come raining down by the $1 Million Man, who's really enjoying this. Holly, less so. In a confusing moment, Animal enters the ring, walks past Hawk and Deebs in order to argue with the official.
Yep.
Thoughts?
Make it make sense.
Okay, I can't, I'm afraid. I really can't. Blatant choke by IRS as the official is distracted, and this might be the most fucked I've ever seen Hawk look in any match.
Yeah.
With Hawk on his knees, Ted delivers a series of right hands to the face, and it appears that we get a weird cut as Hawk looks to elevate the $1 Million Man whilst being trapped in the front face lock. I noticed this on another match later on in the night where they've suddenly done a quick cut to get rid of some stuff.
I see.
And I think it's I'm putting air quotes here, the co-main event they do that on as well.
Okay.
Yeah, where they're not doing something and then they're in another position all of a sudden.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, very odd. Less noticeable in this one, I'd say, but I did notice that it didn't flow. At the second attempt, he moves even closer to his corner, but when he does eventually, the official doesn't see it, eventually make the tag, the official doesn't see it, as he was distracted with IRS.
This ref is stupid.
Can't remember who was the official in this one, do you remember?
Oh, do not tell me it's... Do you actually not remember?
No, I don't remember.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to tell me it was Dangerous.
He was on the show. He was on the show, but I don't know if he was doing this match.
I just know it's not Hebner.
No, I saw on this show, I remember seeing Hebner, I remember seeing Dangerous Danny Davis, I remember seeing Joey Morella.
Okay.
I don't... Mike Chioda, maybe, but I don't know if I did. But, yeah, anyway, letting himself down. Money Inc. continues to work over Hawk, but a double clothesline leaves both he and IRS down. Finally, we get the tag for Animal, and Deebs doesn't want any part of him, putting his hands up in surrender before eating a kick to the gut. Whip and leaping shoulder tackle put the $1 Million Man down, as does a drop kick for IRS. Animal unloads with boots in the corner and a number of right hands. As he begins to get in his stride, he takes a knee to the back from IRS, but avoids a double team clothesline, instead levelling both opponents on his return. All four men are in the ring, but an atomic drop by Animal to IRS sends him over the top and down to the outside. A ridiculous sell for that move, and it annoys me every time I see it. Teddy is sent into the buckles, where he eats a clothesline from Animal, who is assisted by Hawk with a whip. Animal lifts Deebs up onto his shoulder in a what is this position called, Holly?
Electric chair.
Electric chair, but we don't get the Doomsday device as IRS plants a drop kick on the unsuspecting Animal. Hawk drops down from the top rope to connect with a right hand on IRS, sending him to the apron, where he is knocked down courtesy of a charging $1 Million Man. Power slam by Animal, and we get the hook of a leg for the 1, 2, 3. The winners of this match by pinfall, the Legion of Doom. Now, I thought, why didn't they just hit the Doomsday device? And then I realised, oh yeah, they do that really fucking crazily and not safe. And Ted went, I am not fucking taking this move. And IRS would have been so bored that what the danger is one of them fall asleep and actually drop him on his head. So, because I thought, that was a shit finish. Have the Doomsday device, but do it safely. Like, maybe Animal, you fall back instead of going off your fuck with the legs and just letting them free fall. Because I guarantee you that's why Ted was like, I'm not taking that.
Okay.
What do you think of the match, Holly?
Do you know what? I thought it was alright. As much as the whole distraction and the tag, not tag, got quite annoying, it was still very easy to watch. 2.75.
Wow. I agree to a point. I thought it went on a little bit too long, like the portion where Hawk was getting double teamed.
Yeah.
Slightly too long for me, but I also like the fact that we saw weakness in the Legion of Doom.
Yes.
So I went 2 stars because I was at 2.5, but as it went on, I just brought it down a little bit a couple of times. So, and I still think 2 stars is relatively fair for what it was.
We may have had a problem while I was watching this. I might actually have been in a good mood while I was watching this.
What, the whole show?
Maybe, I'm not sure. Well, I don't recall, but that's quite a decent score.
It is 2.7, especially as it had IRS and Jimmy Hart were there, and Ted DiBiase.
I know.
Wow,
this does concern me.
It does. God
forbid I'm in a good mood sometimes.
Yeah, I think we need to speak to someone about that. Actually, I'm not sure I'm comfortable with it, to be honest.
Yeah.
As Vince says that this has gotten us off to a roaring start, he now sends us allegedly backstage to Mean Gene Okerlund, who is standing beside the Real World's champion, or former Real World's champion, Nature Boy Ric Flair. Gene says that Flair was immediately put out when he learned what the main event for SummerSlam was scheduled to be. Don't call it the main event if it's midway through the show. Flair refers to Gene as Little Man and says that we can rest assured that he was not the only one disgruntled by his absence in the main event. When you talk about the bright lights and the big cities, you have to be talking about London, England. Thank you very much, Rick. And when you were talking SummerSlam and when you were talking the World Wrestling Federation, you have to be talking Ric Flair. Mean Gene says that he couldn't help but notice the former champion is standing here in his robe and wrestling gear, ready for action, but asks him what is going on. He does realise that everyone he interviews, or at least 90% of them, are wearing their wrestling gear. Yeah?
But what's going on?
Yeah. Why are you
going
dressed
on?
for this?
Wait, are you gonna wrestle?
Do you know that Edge broke his neck?
No.
No. He's not even around yet on the scene. I know. Ric Flair says that anybody that knows him knows he stays ready for any kind of action. Take it means he is also strapping a Johnny for the interview then. Gene now shifts the conversation to the Nature Boy's personal advisor, Mr. Perfect, who will be in the corner of either Randy Savage or Ultimate Warrior. I don't know if you know that, Holly.
Oh, thank you for letting me know.
No worries. Gene claims that due to the involvement of Ric Flair and Mr. Perfect, this match could go down in history as the most controversial match in WWF history. Bold claim based off almost no information. Mean Gene wants to put Ric Flair on the spot and flat out asks him whose corner Mr. Perfect will be in. The Nature Boy begins to laugh, causing Gene to feel as though he is being metaphorically blue-balled. Flair is giving nothing away, and so Gene puts forth, as the great Winston Churchill would say, "Now is the time." Okay. Gene demands to know the whereabouts of Mr. Perfect here at SummerSlam. Flair looks at him as though he is a moron and says that he is in the dressing room, but doesn't specify whose dressing room, other than reiterating, the dressing room of the winner. Who else? Woo! We now head to Sean... thoughts?
In hindsight,
Yep.
that was amazing. In comparison to what we are about to witness.
Okay, so this, cards on the table. We've seen some dross. Absolute dross over these shows. I think contender for worst promo we've ever seen would be so far Jerry Lynn from Judgment Day. I think that has been beaten by Edge and Gangrel and Christian. And though Christian said nothing, so I don't want to associate him with that, because Gangrel was poor and then Edge got worse on the debut episode of SmackDown, I think it was.
I think so.
Yep, absolute arse gravy. But I would like to introduce you to contestant number 3.
Yes.
We now head to Sean Mooney, who is in the locker room alongside Virgil. Right. Holly, what in Christ's name is the meat sauce enthusiast doing here? I have seen shit shadowboxing in my day, but this is up there with the very shittiest. And this is before he talks. I was annoyed with the fucking shadowboxing.
I knew you'd be annoyed.
Okay. I'm just composing myself. Sean asks Virgil how he feels about going up against one of the most dangerous men in the WWF, the ex-convict, Nails. Sorry, Nails.
Yeah.
Virgil says he saw what Nails did to his friend the Big Boss Man when he handcuffed him and beat him like a dog. Virgil says he survived all the toughest streets around the world, which when you think about it makes absolutely no sense. And to double down on the nonsensical verbiage, he says, and the toughest street he will survive is right here tonight in Wembley Stadium because you've got to want it, man. They're English words.
It's word tombola.
It's word salad.
It just makes no sense.
It's garbage. It's absolute horseshit.
And I feel I don't know why I feel bad saying it, but like, if he was just saying this nonsense, but had a bit of something about him, I wouldn't hate it as much. I still wouldn't like it, but I would just be like, oh God, this is weird. But this is awful.
What you're saying is you're glad he's dead.
No.
You're not saying that.
That's
no.
a hideous thing to say.
Well, you shouldn't say it then, to be fair. Like honestly,
you know
this is... No, seriously, this is...
awful.
But not even... Like, it's every aspect of it.
Yes.
It's offensive to every sense. I feel like I can taste depression in that room.
Watching it as well, even on mute, upsets me because his nose is streaming.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Streaming. And it's like, dude, come on. That's not... Like, but streaming like into the mouth area.
Yeah.
And it immediately just makes me feel unwell.
Well, did you do that? You know, the kind of...
Yeah, that's one thing that I just can't deal with. And I'm just like, oh God, that's so gross.
I mean, to be fair, it's not a solid look. I get upset when I see a toddler, you know, when the toddler kind of goes, and then they do the string away, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
And then they want to hold your hand immediately.
The gag reflex goes,
They want to hold your hand. I remember M's nephew did that to me. To be fair, he was super young. I mean, I'm talking like he was walking around in nappies, so he must have been like 15 at the time. And he did the whole... Like,
yeah, cool shit.
Because it was like the first time I'd ever met her, so it's the second eldest. They flew over, and we're around Em's dad's, and he was like really not antisocial because he's still a bit awkward now, but he isn't as outgoing as his elder brother, and he doesn't take to new people well. And for some reason, he took to me like that, which was nice. And then when he found out we were going home, he realised the front door was how we get out. So in his nappies, he waddled up to the door and put both his hands on the door and was going, cried. And then I said, oh, no, come here. And then he snot rocketed his wrist and then went for my hand. And I went... And then like, walked him away, went out the door, and I said, can I use your antibac when we get in the car? And then went, I don't have any. So the whole journey home, I'm like holding my arm up like this, going, I'm not touching anything until I've got home. Does that make me sound like a bad person? Probably. But still, very sweet, gross.
Right.
Yeah. So that's the summary in a nutshell.
Yes.
Okay, right. Oh, God, we're still on this bloody promo, aren't we? So after You've Got to Want It, Man, he then fires a jab at Sean Mooney, who barely flinches as the buffoonery continues. Virgil informs us that his saying is, do unto others before they can ever do unto me. Sweet. For all the people around the world and for those here in London, he is definitely too legit to quit. And he does, I'm going to say ASL, he signals to, or the peace sign. Legit is like a Randy Savage rapid spinny finger.
Yeah.
And quit is kind of the fingers across the throat. Yeah. Like cut it off. Like cut this. So I don't think that's the official sign language, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
But I got so angry watching this.
I might start using that in work Zoom meetings. Yeah. Be like, wrap it up.
But it's like...
Yeah.
Do you know what it was? To me, it was... I don't know how to describe it, so I'm going to give it a go. It's like someone else was piloting the ship, and the stuff that was coming out of his mouth, he wasn't actually in control of, and he was ad-libbing physically to whatever was coming out of his mouth, because he looked confused by someone that, like, too legit to quit. He was like, what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah, it was bizarre.
And again, this wasn't live.
No, so in what world does someone go, that's really good?
To be fair, I think I'd go, yeah, it's great, Virgil.
Yeah.
Because
it's not going to get no better.
I was going to say, imagine
maybe
if that
was the best take.
Could you imagine?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Ooh.
What did he do the first time? Come out naked? That would have been more interesting.
I mean, maybe.
More interesting.
Instead of doing the hand
he did the
motion
helicopter.
for the helicopter.
From what I understand, big sausage as well.
A stripper helicopter.
Yeah, just thudding on his kneecap or something. Brilliant. So anyway, Virgil, I don't ever want to see again. Oh yeah, Sean Mooney actually had the line of this, by the way. Sean Mooney signs off by saying that if Virgil has his way, crime certainly will not pay. Best line of that. The interviewer should not be coming out with the best line to save your ass.
No.
Unbelievable. Well, we go straight into match number 2. Now I'm going to say match. And bearing in mind I told you that there was like a 6-hour shitfest overall on this show, where we only get the last 2.5 hours or 2 hours 50 of it.
How did this make it to the main
That is
card?
Exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
This was just deemed, this is good enough.
Give me any one of those matches that probably wasn't
incredible
over this.
Holly, it probably goes without saying that precisely 0 people were interested in this match. The match, of course, Nails versus Virgil, if that wasn't painfully obvious already. Nails, standing in the ring, being given tremendous jobber treatment, looks like a cross between the alien who inhabited the man's body in Men in Black and my mate Colin.
Oh my god, that's so good.
He's halfway between both.
That's actually amazing.
I've done Colin a massive disservice there, but the majority of it is the Men in Black
guy. It is.
Throw Colin into the mix.
Oh, that's amazing.
So I think Colin's a handsome boy, but this is right. And I've got a story for you, Holly. And you...
I'll pretend to be surprised if it's the one I think it is.
If it's Nails, you definitely know it.
Of course I do.
Okay. It's just a story that we couldn't not tell you, I think. And for anyone that didn't know this, let me give you a bit of background about Mr. Kevin Wackles. Long-time wrestling fans have likely heard the story of Nails, aka Kevin Wackles, allegedly attacking Vince McMahon in December 1992. Holly, is this a story you've heard of?
Yeah, but I'll give it the ooh if you want.
Oh, please, because otherwise I'll feel like I've let you down.
Okay.
Did you look it up specifically after this? Because if so...
I wanted to know who he was.
Oh, damn, I really should have told you not to look this up, because this would have been a great story for you to hear first time. According to the stories told by others, Wackles was reportedly upset over pay and confronted McMahon in the locker room, allegedly attacking him. The incident led to a series of lawsuits between Wackles and the company, as he was fired after it happened. Wackles filed a wrongful termination lawsuit claiming McMahon sexually assaulted him. The WWF filed a counterclaim against Wackles. Both suits were later dropped. Speaking to Mike Johnson of PW Insider in a High Spots TV exclusive, Wackles gave his side of what happened. The name Wackles means nothing to me now. Wackles was first asked if the incident had anything to do with his payment. Usually a guy wouldn't quit or have problem with his ownership of... Usually a guy wouldn't quit or have problem with the ownership of a business if he was happy with what he was getting paid. On that aspect, that kind of sums it up there, he said. Bruce Pritchard claims that Wackles called Vince at his home and Bruce picked up. Vince said that he would talk to Wackles on television, according to Pritchard. Never happened. I don't even know his number, said Wackles. Jimmy Hart has claimed that he was in the room when the incident happened and that Wackles throttled McMahon before he was pulled off him. Nope, no one was in the locker room except me and the assailant, said Wackles, referring to... But I love that. Referring to him as the assailant is amazing. Wow. Bret Hart has said in his book, Wackles cornered Vince in his office and screamed at him for 15 minutes. Hart claims he was just down the hall from the office when he heard a loud crash, which was Wackles knocking Vince over in his chair, choking him violently. Thought Vince was into that, actually, didn't he?
Yeah.
Asked about Bret's account of the story, Wackles said, I don't know who was outside in the hall because we were in the locker room and the door was shut. Fair.
Yeah.
Bret also wrote that Wackles yelled that someone grabbed a sensitive area and that Wackles went to the phone to call the police. Sorry, I'm not laughing about sexual assault. I just feel like, I'll be honest, okay, I don't have a dog in this fight with either of these two gentlemen. I'm thinking, if Nails started choking me, could I imagine myself, if he's taller, do I give him a testicular twist to try and let him go? You know, like when a dog's clamped down, finger up the arse. Straight on the bollocks, give it a twist.
Do anything,
Are we calling that sexual assault? I feel like maybe that's somewhere about what actually happened, but I mean, it's different because if Vince went like and then went for it, then if he licked his fingertips, to be clear, because they just heard a noise I made.
Exactly.
Yeah, sorry for the visual there that you got, but you can do whatever with that later on. Bret also wrote that I did go to the phone and call the police and said I'd been assaulted. He confirmed. John Nord, so John Nord was the Berserker. I don't know if you know who the Berserker is. Claims that Wackles knew what was going to happen and that he asked Nord to watch the door and then pretend to pull Wackles off someone. Nope, didn't happen, said Wackles. Charlie Norris claims he was in the car with Wackles and Nord when Wackles allegedly asked Nord to watch the door. This name.
The more you say his name, the more it's just funny.
Sounds like Waka Waka! I don't think so. I don't think Charlie was with us, he said. Wackles said he wasn't concerned about being arrested in the aftermath and said that no one in WWF/WWE had made good with money. Asked about the reaction from the talent after the incident, Wackles said, I'm not really around wrestling anymore for probably a good 20 years. From what I heard from a few people, a lot of people didn't like what I did to the guy in the East Coast. They have to understand we're independent contractors and everyone makes their own deal. What deal worked for them may not work for me. The deal that I made, that I was told, didn't come through. A lot of guys think that it was stupid for what he did, as in him talking about himself. He should have never did it, or whatever. They all make their own deals. I made my deal didn't come through. That's why that happened. Sorry, that's why what happened. It had nothing to do with anybody else except the person that told me that this is how much money you're going to make, and didn't come through with it. They can say what they want or think what they want. That was stupid, but after that, I didn't plan on being in wrestling again anyway. I'd basically had enough of it. If something else comes through again, another territorial promoter calls up and has a deal for me, I'll listen, and if I think I want to do it, I would. Later I did. WCW came through with an offer and signed me to a 2-year contract, and I didn't have to hardly work at all. I think he was actually called the Convict in WCW and had a feud with Big Bubba Rogers, Big Boss Man. Again, I think. Okay. Yeah, again, no one cares. Nails, wank. I'm sorry, it's probably going to do me for sexual assault for just saying that there, but Again, not diminishing sexual assault, but again,
No,
I find this incident very strange, is all I'm saying. It's rare that I'm leaning towards McMahon on something.
A little bit weird.
Yeah. Wackles appeared at WCW Slamboree as the prisoner, losing to Sting. The Convict is better. Anyway, that's basically what happened. Asked if he wished that night in Green Bay had gone differently, Wackles replied, "I'm fine with what happened. I don't have any regrets. Never got too many thank you calls and thank you letters in my life. People that I hadn't heard from in years were sending me cards. A lot of people that ended up working for him later were the same guys that came and thanked me for what happened. People would say, must have taken a lot of guts to do that." Well, a lot of balls, I'd have said, but anyway, we'll leave that. "I wish I was in your position, that I could have done that years later. He did step on a lot of toes and he made it tough for a lot of people. He made a lot of promises that he didn't fulfill, and a lot of guys were in a bad predicament because he lied to them. That's their deal, that's not mine. I'm only speaking what happened to me. What happened to me didn't come through." In 1994, Wackles did testify against McMahon in the steroid trial. Wackles would work for various promotions throughout the 90s before retiring in 2001. That's it. So that's Fightful. I believe I got that. Yeah, it was Fightful.com. So if anyone wants to reread that article, that is where it is to be found. Back to the action. Now, jogging his way down to the... what was your reaction? Because you said obviously you knew that. But you weren't expecting it.
I didn't know it before the match. I watched the match and then was like, there's got to be some form of entertainment here. So Googled him specifically.
It's pretty much the first thing, isn't it?
And it was on Wikipedia. Gave it a read and I thought, okay, that was more entertaining than the match.
Again, are we sticking with calling it a match?
Because
it's bold.
Come on.
Anyway, promo of the night is now jogging his way down to the ring in Virgil. I have no further comments at this stage. Bell sounds, and after a moment of Virgil circling the bigger man, he is grabbed by the throat with two hands and backed against the buckles. I'm having flash forwards here to what he did to McMahon. The official tries to separate them, but the hold is only broken once Virgil connects with a very deliberate and dramatic finger to the eye. A flurry of right hands land from Virgil, but his whip is reversed and he hits the buckles hard, but uses the momentum to deliver a messy clothesline on his opponent. Starting off well?
Oh yeah. Peeking already.
Nails staggers into the ropes and takes a drop kick that staggers him once again, but the big man never leaves his feet. Nails once again grabs him by the throat with two hands and chokes him in the corner before returning the favour with a deliberate rake of the eyes.
Boring.
Tell you what, bring out IRS again. Virgil ducks a clothesline off a whip and attempts a sunset flip, but has to narrowly avoid a punch to the top of the head before he can complete the move. Schoolboy roll-up barely gets a count of one, and Nails looks pissed as he returns to bare-hand choking Virgil on the canvas. I don't think Nails wanted to leave his feet, and that looked legitimately pissy to me. Yes. Dismissively, the Convict throws Virgil over the ropes and down to the blue mats. Very awkwardly, Nails crawls outside of the ring and stalks his opponent, whom he smashes face first into the ring apron before returning to the ring briefly to break the count. Once again, Virgil goes face first into the ring apron and collapses upon impact. They return to the ring, but Nails is too slow and with striking with the double axe handle, allowing Virgil to land a flurry of punches to the midsection. Sure. Corner whip is reversed, but Virgil gets the boots up on a charge before running directly into a clothesline that puts him down again. Sleep hold applied, although it's kind of more of a reverse chin lock that McMahon is screaming to be a chokehold. Wouldn't be the first time he's screaming he's in a chokehold. No need for you to do the honours, Holly. This bitch is done. I don't remember putting that. The bell sounds as we are allowed to believe that Virgil is out cold. The winner of this match by technical submission, Nails. No music plays, because quite frankly, he doesn't deserve it. And the Convict has located the big boss man's nightstick. Hello.
Cheeky.
Yeah, he took it off him. All the fans turn their eyes to the aisleway expecting a run-in, but nobody comes to the aid of Virgil as he eats a blow to the midsection before being choked with a weapon. Running kick to the ribs sends Virgil rolling to the outside as Tony Garea looks to catch him as he falls and kind of lands underneath him. It was very evident that Nails doesn't quite know what to do with a nightstick, as he's caught halfway between twirling it and wanking it. Mm-hmm. Holly, thoughts?
It's just weird.
What's your batting technique of choice? Because I feel like if I had the... No, hang on.
Like baton twirling?
No. Imagine it's a nightstick, because baton twirling, I assume you'd do that.
Yeah.
With a nightstick, I feel like I would grab it by the short handle and try and spin it back and forth, so like the actual nightstick itself spins round.
I don't know what you mean.
So, it's got the short handle and then the long stick.
Yes.
I would grab that and see if I could, because I think if you hold it loose enough and do that, you'd get the whole thing to windmill. Like, you've seen Boss Man do it, and he like twirls the thing round.
Yeah, he looks good on that.
Whereas, like, Nails is like kind of half beating it and then starts literally...
I see what you're saying.
He's either loading a shotgun or about to fire off a different set of barrels, if you know what I mean.
Oh, okay.
But he doesn't look like a man that would know how to wank. Do you know what I mean?
Not by judging how he holds that. No.
Yeah, like I don't know if he knows enough to come inside when it's raining.
He should ask Vince for some help.
Yeah, I think he's the type of, when you've seen like an old PS2 or PS1 animated game where it's a blockish character that can't quite get through a door and just keeps walking into it and then kind of bouncing back and doing the same motion over and over again. That is Nails, I feel like. Yeah. As a character, maybe as a person, I don't know him.
Yeah.
But the baton work I felt like could have used a little bit more than it gave, and this gave nothing. Let me stress this. What'd you score it, Holly?
0.
Oh, I came close myself, but I went 0.25 because, and it's not in the match, so it's technically cheating.
Yep.
I enjoyed no one saving Virgil, and the whole crowd going.
Yeah, everyone expected someone to come in.
Literally everyone.
I did too. I'll be honest.
Yeah, I mean, Bossman coming down would have been fine.
I hoped.
But just everyone going, and then going, no, fuck you, Virgil, actually. That promo was shit.
Yeah, it was a bit sad.
Awful. But talk about your pits to your highs right here.
I know, right?
We now head to the highlight of the night so far as Vince sends us backstage where Lord Alfred Hayes is knocking on Macho Man's dressing room door.
Macho Man.
You might have beaten me to the punch there on that.
I love it.
Lord Al waits approximately half a second before he begins wildly smacking his palm on the door in frustration at being ignored. In contrast to his recent actions, he calmly turns to face the camera, where he begins speaking in hushed tones that he cannot confirm the rumours that Mr. Perfect is inside Macho Man's dressing room. He can confirm, however, that this door has been locked for some time and nobody is answering. However, undaunted, Lord Al will continue his investigation to the whereabouts of Mr. Perfect. In the meantime, he will hand it back to Mean Gene. Standing at the Summerslam, it's always good to see Lord Al.
Always.
Last time we saw him getting shit-faced.
Yes.
With cake.
Yes.
Thrown in his face. The gift that keeps on giving.
I love that his snippets are the perfect length as well. They're never too long. They're the perfect little snippet that thankfully leaves you wanting that little bit more.
I would like a picture of his face that says, I believe in Lord Al.
Oh.
That is what I want. Make that shirt. I will wear it.
Oh.
Okay? Would you imagine us going to Progress wearing a I believe in Lord Al shirt?
I mean,
twinning? You wear black jeans, I'll wear blue jeans, so it's not weird. Yeah?
I'm not wearing matching t-shirts.
No?
No.
Why not?
I'm not.
But you're Holly from the podcast.
Stop it.
Okay, we know the rules. Okay, so where are we? We're with Mean Gene. So, standing at the SummerSlam interview area, Gene has the privilege of standing beside one of the best outfits I've ever seen in any wrestling show being worn by Sensational Sherry. It is, in fact, if you look on the front row there, bottom shelf, next to Tony Storm, that is the exact outfit that I believe Sensational Sherry was wearing at SummerSlam. Just give me your thoughts right off the bat.
It's a lot.
Oh, it's a lot?
It's a lot to take in at first. It's, It's kind of like the trousers are effectively like chaps.
Yes.
She's wearing a thong. And
is she? Well,
the
ish.
bodysuit is
fine.
effectively...
Fine.
It's the skimpiest one I'd seen in this era, I guess. And it's just everything's out. Everything.
And we see it later on as well. I really enjoy Oakland referring to Sherry as a frequent companion of Shawn Michaels, and he does make mention of the fact that she looks ravishing tonight.
Cheeky.
We are shown... Do you reckon he'd ravage her?
Who?
Do you reckon Mean Gene would give it a climb? See what we could do?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah, going for it.
Got to try for him once.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, fine. We've shown footage from WWF Superstars where Shawn Michaels intentionally gets Rick Martel disqualified by punching Bret Hart in the face whilst in the Boston Crab. In another incident, Rick Martel makes an appearance on WWF Challenge during a match of the Heartbreak Kid. Martel gives us a very obvious wink to Sherry, which she sells with wide-eyed surprise and is actually very believable in doing so. I thought it was good. The camera returns to Sherry, who does indeed eventually return the gesture to the model, which is more like a... It's kind of... This is the way, by the way, when you burp and then blow it in my face. This is the exact wink you give me in response.
Such a catch.
Hey. Weirdly, even though it's always after beer, it's never been like a stinky one, so that's fine. I'm very pleased. Although you have had Monster Munch today, so I'm concerned.
I have, but I'm not going to do that to you today.
No, that's fine. I appreciate that.
Good.
I appreciate that. Thank you. So I've got to save something for... Oh, you're not at the July show, are you? The August show?
No, yeah. Jamie can do it to you instead.
Jamie can blame me at the show for sure, yeah. The cameras return to... I'll return the favour, Jamie, for fuck's sake. The cameras return to Sherry, who does indeed return it, yep. During another match of Rick Martel, Sherry makes her way down to ringside to take it all in.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, save it. Mean Gene asked the Sensational One about the specific rule she requested for this match, that being that neither man can strike one another in the face.
Do you think that's her rule at the weekend?
Safe word,
just
pineapple.
Not in the face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She strikes me as someone that takes a little punch to the back of the head. Do you know what I mean?
What, a donkey punch?
Oh, she's like, yeah.
Good God.
But she's also, I reckon, in that environment, you know, not speaking of the dead, I like Sherry. Yeah. She would sound like Luna Vachon.
Oh.
Like, come on, give it to me! Like, properly getting it, like, going, ma, ma! Like, really getting into it.
Yeah, it's not like a sensual female voice,
it's not like oh yes, please punch me in the back of the head. I don't know why she's suddenly British and a man.
I don't know either, Lord Al.
Oh yes, if you could please punch me in the back of the head. That's tremendous.
So weird.
The Macho Man, oh. I see why they call him Macho. Okay, so, right, where is that? Sherry getting donkey punched in... Weirdly, I don't have that in my notes for some reason.
No.
So Sherry says that she always gets exactly what she wants.
Never in doubt.
Both men are extremely handsome.
Okay.
I would say neither at this point.
Yeah, Sean's not there yet.
I'd probably, if I had to, I'd probably go Martel, if I'm being honest.
Mm-hmm.
Both men possess the most exquisite features, and speaking on behalf of the softer sex, she sees no reason why either man should hurt themselves, and both have agreed not to hit each other in the face. Mean Gene asks Sherry where she stands in this matchup. Sherry says that she would stand exactly where any woman would, and that is right beside her man. Sherry, let's go! That's what we hear.
It's weird, but I quite liked that little ending of he just calls her off and she goes.
Yep.
No.
We hear Sean call for her off camera, and indeed she does follow him down to the ring. Holly.
Yes.
Third match of the night. Rick the Model Martel versus Shawn Michaels with Sensational Sherry.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've actually got it written down here, but this is a heel versus heel match. It's rare enough to see a face versus face match in the WWF, but heel versus heel, genuinely, what do you think was the mindset going into that?
I don't know.
Well, of course, but theoretically, what do you think the
Shawn
logic
Michaels
is?
on telly. I don't know really, because even when it was finished, I'm not sure what it achieved.
No, that's what I mean. Like, they weren't turning one of them face
Not
off
really,
the back of it.
No.
There was definitely people on the card that you could have put...
either of them with.
Yeah. Or, I'll tell you what, do like I don't know if you had a... Oh, okay, I know they were already on the card. Fortunately, we didn't see the Bushwhackers, but the Bushwhackers were on the undercard. Put Martel and Shawn... Oh, they did already do the tag team match, didn't they, or something, where Martel walks off or some shit. Do that, because this seems odd.
Yeah, I didn't really understand it. And even at the end, like I said, was no clearer.
Did I hate it? No. But I think it's because I was fascinated to see what the crowd were going to do with it. And the crowd kind of liked both of them off the back of it. So we can hate neither, therefore we love both.
Yeah, okay.
And Martel's like, I don't remember ever being cheered. Apart from in Strike Force days and his AWA Championship run days. Whose corner were you in?
Shawn Michaels.
And yet, Martel's the one that would have got it. All right, fine. I'll be honest. I really like my Shawn Michaels Hasbro figure, which is pretty much exactly what he's wearing.
Okay.
I don't know if it's the exact one, because I think it's the one that WrestleMania 9, you know, where he had the match with Tatanka.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, he had the match with at Caesar's Palace, open air stadium.
Oh, that one, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And he had the white tights with the red hearts up it, the little circle sunglasses, the poofy hair. I
remember now.
That's exactly what his Hasbro figure used to have on. So to me, this is like a kind of
similar,
nostalgic sweet spot for me, this. Already waiting in the ring is Rick the Model Martel. Jobber. We can see that the model is wearing all white and holding a tennis racket, which Vince suggests is reflective of Wimbledon, which took place a couple of months prior. Okay. McMahon goes on to say that perhaps Martel is thinking more about the US Open. And here I was thinking that perhaps he simply wanted to dress like a twat. We get an Andre Agassi reference by Heenan, which completely stumps McMahon, which I'm in full support of. Now, Holly, we get the original version of Sexy Boy.
Yeah.
Where Shawn Michaels is not the one singing it, it's Sherry Martel.
Yeah.
Just realised Sherry Martel.
Yeah.
Her surname, Rick the Model Martel. No relation, never banged, never married. What?
Never banged.
Well,
Didn't realise that meant if you bang, you get a new surname.
Oh, I was about to... Holly Johnson Smith Adams.
Oh my god!
I was just thinking of
rude.
surnames. Jones, Ali. Anyway, I know you're not a big fan of the original, though, are you?
No, I'm really not.
Why?
It doesn't annoy me a lot, but it's not as good.
Enough.
It's not as good.
Okay, fair. Ring company by Sensational Sherry. Okay, yeah. Right. He makes his way down to the ring, accompanied by Sensational Sherry, so she is indeed in his corner, and she is carrying a 3/4 length full mirror for the Heartbreak Kid to look into periodically. Holly, what do you make of his mullet?
Awful.
Correct. 5 points Gryffindor. Vince asks the Brain who he believes to be the more conceited of the two competitors. Heenan's response, well, it sure isn't Howard Finkel.
Okay.
Poor little Baldy taking fucking bullets. Friar Tuck over there, bless him. Vince mocks the rules of not hitting each other in the face and says that this isn't 6th grade. I agree, 6th graders can actually be more mature and hit each other. It is only now that I realise Bobby Heenan is whistling Shawn Michaels' theme music as he comes to the ring. You're not a fan of whistling. Is this an exception?
Yes.
I thought so as well.
Yes. I hate whistling so much.
What is it about it that you find so obnoxious?
Again, it's one of my things that I wish I knew the reasoning behind it. Yeah. But I just hate it.
Yeah.
Annoys me so much.
So for any prospective suitors, do not be whistling Country Road Take Me Home as you're having intercourse. It will not end
weird.
well. Yeah, to the rhythm as well. Country
That
Road
would be so bizarre.
Take Me Home. That'd be amazing.
A great story to tell, but bizarre.
I'd like to think that, not being weird, but if that ever did happen, I'd be the first one you send a text and saying, by the way, guess what? I will not be seeing them again, but this is what just happened.
So bizarre.
It's only now... Oh, yeah, he's whistling the song. McMahon notices that part of Sherry's outfit appears to be missing, and that same area where it is missing shortly sees the rope disappear right between it. Because she sits on the ropes to get in the ring, and I'm like, the rope's gone.
Yep.
The rope is gone.
She's a hungry ass.
There's something about her, isn't it? Prawn. Is that what you call it? Or
in a male term, I normally call it a prawn. I think because you even text me when you got to this point, and you're like, oh my god. But the face, because I think she's got a bit of face paint on. Yeah. She's got the chain that goes from her nose to her ear as well, which I'm not a big fan of. But so prawn.
It's a handle, if nothing else. Sherry holds the mirror in place so that Heartbreak Kid can ensure not a single hair is out of place, ironically, before she helps describe him in preparation for the match. Disrobes him, not describes him. And
she does an audiobook.
Particular care is given when she undoes his belt so he can remove his chaps. Imagine if he got a boner.
I'll be honest, a little part of me thought this would be
Are we twitching?
Very weird.
Yeah.
But it's a bit...
You made sure he didn't, though.
What is the word? You're dicing with, like, something.
Dicing in danger.
Yeah.
Yeah, very much so. I would just be thinking, like, I don't know, the natural disasters having a shower. Just something that would King Kong Bundy at the buffet, like anything.
Okay, anything that would distract you.
Yeah, the smell of Vader's mask, just these kind of things that would be, definitely. Yep. So speaking of chaps, I can also see those through his tights. Very average. Well done, Holly. What are your thoughts on this heel versus heel match? It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
But you're in the corner of Michaels because obviously. The bell sounds and this match is underway. Shawn begins tapping his face in the direction of Martel, taunting him because obviously he can't take a swing. Well, he can. It's like an unwritten rule Because nothing happens when that eventually, inevitably, then falls apart.
I did assume at that point we'd hear a ding, ding, ding.
No.
Done.
No. They circle one another before eventually locking up. Side headlock applied by the model, and he manages to hold on as Michaels looks to push free. There are questions as to whether Martel held on by the hair, but at the second attempt, Shawn does push himself free. Leapfrog and drop down by the Heartbreak Kid, and he leapfrogs again before lying down and splitting his legs in a mating display that sees Martel cartwheel to one side, where he then begins doing jumping jacks.
Quite liked that.
Yes, fine. Side headlock by Michaels, but he pushed off and manages to duck 2 clotheslines before sliding between the legs and scoring with a drop kick.
Again, I like that too.
Yeah. Heenan astutely asks if it's okay to drop kick someone to the face given the no face hitting policy. Because he does take a drop kick to the face.
That's true.
And I was like, do you know what? Fair question, Heenan. Fair question. Quick punch to the kidneys by the model, who now stamps away on Michaels. Knees to the midsection, but the corner whip is reversed. As Martel reaches the opposite buckles, he jumps to the second rope before blindly diving into a crossbody attempt that finds nobody home.
What a manoeuvre.
What a manoeuvre indeed. Armringer sees Martel wind up on the canvas, and when he does return to his feet, he's yanked back down with a handful of hair. The moment I was already asking myself at this point, I wonder when Michaels is going to get his arse out. Don't worry, that's later. The moment he does get to his feet, he reels back as though ready to swing a right hand at the face, but pauses, allowing Shawn to yank him back down to the canvas with the hair again. Now it's the model's turn to yank Michaels down to the canvas with a handful of hair, but he kips up and threatens throwing a right hand to the face moments before, like Martel did. Countered by Michaels, but he is pushed off to the ropes, and Martel leapfrogs and drops down before sending the Heartbreak Kid sailing over the top and down to the outside. Editor's note, I've written here the Heart Rate Kid. I generally don't think the crowd know who they should be supporting in this one. Sherry is at the side of her man trying to assist him, but the model is quickly beside her, encouraging her to walk away with him, which she does, and he gives her a big hug. And Vince is going, oh, she likes it. And Heenan goes, like it? She loves it! Which is just great. He now returns his attention to Shawn and clubs him in the back before returning him into the ring. Axe handle to the lower back, and now Martel whips him to the ropes and sends him skywards on a back body drop. Piece of cake. Piece of crumpet, says Heenan. Fine with that. Again, fine.
I like the crumpet terminology as well.
Yes.
Oh, she's a bit of crumpet.
Yeah, very much so, yeah. Top bit of crumpet. Pissing with butter, as Danny Dyer would say, for his crumpet with Marmite.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I know you're not a Marmite fan, but nice.
Absolutely not.
Heenan. Martel misses a clothesline off a whip and finds himself secured in an O'Connor roll. Here we go. Michaels has a handful of tights exposing the arse of his opponent, and the ref refuses to count. The position is reversed, and the same thing happens to Martel, so we get a bit of Shawn's bum. This is reversed once again, and now both men's arses are hanging out. So is Virgil's brain, actually, but that's just from earlier in the evening. The brain says he has never seen so many smiles in his life. I'm unsure if he's referring to the women in the crowd or the literal cracks on the men's backsides. Elbow lands from the Heartbreak Kid, and he delivers a big right to the midsection before a sweet chin music lands to the chest and earns him a count of 2. Not his finish yet. Teardrop suplex was the finish at the time. Gaps to the stomach? What does that mean? Jabs, I assume, to the stomach, and a big right hand by Shawn, but his reverse is whipped. What? His whip is reversed, and he is sent into the buckles, but does manage to get his knees up on the charge. Cheap pin attempt by the Heartbreak Kid, who places his foot on the middle rope for leverage, which the referee spots before the cheating is even completed. It's almost like he knew it was coming. As Michaels looks to argue with the official, Martel rolls him up from behind with a handful of tights again, but doesn't get the 3. The two men come face to face and exchange a few words as well as a shove, and this one looks to be getting heated. Michaels lands a slap across the face, breaking the rules, and Sherry is now standing on the apron. When he returns his attention, the model gives him a receipt. The shoving commences once again, and when both men cock their fists, Sherry faints.
Give this woman an Oscar. This is so bad. This is so bad it's good.
Yep.
This goes into my Carly Kisscam column of so bad it's good, because the fainting is so ridiculous. But you know what I love? She commits and she rolls from that apron face down onto the floor. Her hands are nowhere to be seen. Boom.
Brilliant.
Applause.
Both men look confused, as we get an extreme close-up of Sherry's face. Heenan: I know when a woman faints, believe me.
It's a weird flex.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? I don't think he's talking like Bill Cosby type of fainting, though, to be fair. Puddin' pop. In his haste to check on her, Sean accidentally kicks her off the apron and down to the mat.
It's comedy gold.
Michaels acts as though he's going to give her mouth-to-mouth, but decides against it, instead waving his hand in front of her face to fan her. Ooh, the vapours. Martel comes over and shoves Sean out of the way so he can grab a handful of chest compressions.
This guy, this whole section here, just, I think it stops now as to when I started finding it, like, this was the hilarity section.
Yep.
CPR. If she's faint, she's not dead.
Yeah. To be fair, got to love a try.
Oh, I
haven't
see.
you? Got to love a try.
Imagine if he didn't, instead of doing it like this, he did it with two separate hands.
Yeah, just like
Just
squeezing.
like
Like he was taking, you know, the blood pressure thing where you squeeze the bum and he just goes...
pumping it up.
As his dick gets bigger, like, what's happening here? And Sean's like, I thought I was the one with her. Sorry, what's happening?
Brilliant.
Amazing. Both competitors return exchanging shoves before Michael swings a right hand, and now they are brawling up the aisleway. The referee continues his count as Sherry elevates her head to see whether the two men have gone. After she surveys the scene, she resumes her fainting routine. The match is declared a double count-out. What's the point? Mm-hmm. That's just a side note.
I ask myself that sometimes.
What, with the podcast in general? Yeah, I can imagine that. Yeah. When the officials eventually separate Sean and Martel, Michaels returns to ringside and ungracefully plops Sherry over his shoulder and marches back up the aisle. As we see a close-up shot of Sherry's backside, Vince asks, "Is that Jupiter?" Heenan, cleverly, "No, it's the moon." Brilliant. McMahon then begins to discuss a TV show called Twin Peaks, and the Brain asks him if he means Twin Cheeks. Mm-hmm. A furious Martel finally breaks free from the officials and charges down towards the Heartbreak Kid, levelling him with a right hand and causing him to drop his manager on the floor.
Epic. It's so funny.
Heenan, "He's going to pile drive Sherry!" McMahon, "He's going to what?" Now the model scoops Sherry up in his arms and begins to march back, only to be blindsided by Sean, who strikes him to the ground once again, dropping Sherry with a thump.
This woman, I stand by it. Give her a medal.
She's taken more bumps this night than anyone else, to be fair. When Michaels picks her back up and starts to march, Martel returns with a red bucket. After much teasing, he empties the content over the unconscious woman, who unsurprisingly immediately comes to. She of course is dropped on the floor once again as the Heartbreak Kid chases after his rival. Oh my god, Holly, there's a lot to unpack here, but what did you think?
Why? I think that's
I feel like this is going to get 4 stars or some mad shit from Holly, I'll be honest.
No, I'm not that ridiculous. But it finished and I kind of paused and just went, huh? Like, I don't understand why. She is the best thing about this entire match.
Oh, yeah.
0.5. And that 0.5 is for her.
1.75.
Wow!
I was tickled.
I'm so tickled by this, but I just can't, because most of the hilarity was also after the bell.
I'll be honest, I've actually laughed out loud when Sean kicks her off the apron. And she just goes, it's like a wet thud. It's a slap. It's great.
She's so good though.
Yeah. Sherry's a legend. No, big fat, genuinely.
So...
all credit to Sherry, because I've told you before, she was one of the guys. So she would you hit me like you hit one of the guys. Yeah. That's what you got to do. So all the respect for that.
Oh, brilliant.
But yeah, 1.7. I can't justify it more than the fact that, do you know what? The in-ring content was fine. Heel versus heel was weird, but I kind of liked how it all meshed together, I guess. Mm-hmm. So, we get now backstage, I think. Do we? Yes, we do.
God, we do.
After this scene is finished, McMahon sends us over to Sean Mooney. Who? Heenan asks, which is great. Standing beside Mr. Mooney are the Nasty Boys and, of course, Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart.
I died inside.
Gross faces, great jackets. That should be their slogan, to be fair.
Yeah.
The Nasties are laughing at Sherry getting drenched with water, and Sags equates it to an oil spill on the Thames. Thames.
The Thames.
No, he said Thames. Like an oil spill on the Thames. Thames. Because at first I was like, what the fuck's he mean? Oh, he means Thames.
Get in the fucking bin.
Good segue. Nobbs thought that the Wicked Witch of the West melted, but she simply got wet.
Cheeky.
That's what's still on the residue on the ropes from earlier. Sean Mooney suggests that their upcoming title match for the tag team belt, well, it's not for the tag team belt, so I've lied there, is no laughing matter. Well, they're not even in the card. They're on the pre-show, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah. With that, both
men they're moaning about
not
being
getting a title match
yeah.
because they beat the Ultimate Warrior and Randy Savage in a tag team match, which is fair, to be honest. With that, both men stop laughing, but they do agree with him. It's no laughing matter, and that it is a nasty, nasty situation. I have no idea what SAG says here, other than the greatest tag team in the WWF getting nasticized, and then it sounds like a question why they have the title shot. Oh, sorry, honestly, it's bonkers. Oh, I just realised they are questioning why they don't have a title shot. I also hear a passing reference to the Queen. The Nasty Boys turn their attention to their manager and question him on whether or not they have a future title shot. At first he looks concerned, but after a moment Jimmy Hart, like prime Mickey Mouse, tells them that, well, of course you do! Like, it's
so good.
Yeah, that's how he says it to them, and the two men go, hey! Start high-fiving and tenning and touching each other's mullets. I don't know what they do. But, yes, so thoughts?
Gross. We know I don't like them anyway. They just irritate me so much. Get off my telly.
I know I said gross, but your gross was so much more brutal. I don't know
why.
I don't know. It was more damning. It was more damning. Like, I was like, gross faces, great jackets. You were like, you fucking suck. Like, your existence offends me.
Don't like. Yeah, it does. Really not a fan. Get
all
off
of them
my
still
telly.
alive.
Good for them.
No, but in an era of like everyone being dead. Strong genes in that kind of. Strong genes in that shallow pool is all I'm going to say. Okay, Holly, we're going into another match, and that match is none other than the Beverly Brothers, who you know all about, of course, with the Genius, versus the Natural Disasters, who you actually do know about. And not only that, it's for the WWF Tag Team titles.
Yay.
Well, I think you kind of, put it in a little capsule there and summarised it quite nicely. But what were your initial thoughts about this match?
So, obviously, the Beverly Brothers, I obviously know so much about them, right?
Yeah, so you looked them up.
So much about them.
Former Destruction Crew, right, was it?
I have no desire to watch Natural Disasters. There's nothing about them that is impressive apart from how wide they are.
Well,
I'd rather watch Tugboat and freaking Hulk again than
Holly,
these two.
We've discussed it. Much like the Doctor of Thugonomics, we now must refer to Tugboat by his Tuggers or Tugster.
I like Tuggers.
Tuggers, I bet you do. But so yeah, it's one of the two. It's never Tugboat.
I don't.
Sorry, I had to.
You know what?
As soon as you say Tugboat,
I'd rather that than watch this.
Why?
And it's annoying because actually, when I saw the Beverly Brothers in the ring, I thought, "Oh, this might be all right," and then realised whom it was against, and realised I don't care.
Can you just talk me through the initial onslaught of the senses that are the Beverly Brothers, please?
There's a lot of bleached hair.
Yes.
There's a lot of tan.
Oh, lots of tan.
And I like the matching outfits.
Yep, very sexy.
I quite liked it in that sense. Yeah.
Tell me why the one with the tash was your favourite.
It's a tash.
I know he was your favourite. I couldn't tell you why, but I just know.
I know. Wish I knew.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Somewhere to sit, I guess, isn't it?
It's a bit of something. Don't mind a stash.
Yeah. I don't really have one anymore, to be fair. It's kind of all gone, isn't it? Folly, I nearly called you there. Holly, first thing is first, tell me what you think of the Beverly Brothers. To me, they look like really shit gladiators, and I don't mean the Roman kind.
Oh, like TV show gladiators?
Yeah, American gladiators for the American fans, or just gladiators for UK fans.
I can see it.
Yeah, what would be their names?
I mean...
Bo and Blake, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Blake, fine. Bo, oh dear. The Genius... I forgot about the Genius, to be fair. Completely forgot he was there. Is handed the microphone so he can regale with a poem.
Is this the... Sorry to interrupt you, because apparently I do it all the time. Is this... Yeah, and I haven't let that go either.
She's got to talk about The Rock now.
Is this the same guy that was at the sausage stuffing contest?
Yeah.
Right, cool, okay.
This is also Randy Savage's brother.
Yeah, it's very disappointing.
It is, but we saw him in that, was it the main event, Saturday night's main event show, where he was doing like a moonsault from the top rope and cartwheels and good old leaping Lanny Poffo. Now that, but, well, I'll be honest, I've transcribed his poem. I can't do his voice. I can try, but it won't go well. It will definitely go Zoidberg. That's all I'm saying.
I like Zoidberg, it's fun.
It's from the home of the Olympic Games of 1948 and the World Cup of 1966. I know the date. Now it is Summerslam at Wembley, and the genius holds the key. Behold the future champions, the brothers Beverly. It's kind of like a weird, like back here.
Funny.
But as soon as I start going back there, it goes, and I turn Andre Zoidberg thing. Yeah. Yeah, it's borderline. It's just you cut yourself just before the Andre reflex kicks in. So for anyone, I appreciate that's not a good one, but he's got such a weird timbre in his voice that I wanted to do it. I feel like if I worked on it, I might get closer. So that's summer homework for me. That. Oh God, what a fun summer I'm going to have! Jesus Christ. I don't think he only died a couple of years ago. Actually,
oh, really?
Yeah, he was living in Ecuador because that's what all normal people do when they retire. Yeah, definitely doesn't mean they were into suspect stuff. So the Brothers Beverly, which is, by the way, that's like an ongoing thing now. Whenever I think of the Beverly Brothers, I think of the Brothers Beverly. Yeah. Because of this promo. It's transcended. And not just because I've just seen it here. Anytime I think of the Beverly Brothers, that's what I think of. It's ridiculous. Now making their way down to the ring are the defending tag team champions. Fortunately, Holly, on this little island, we don't get natural disasters apart from that mini tornado in the late 1980s. All I can see is Typhoon's nipple hanging out of his leotard, and this displeases me. The bell sounds and we are underway as the challengers immediately jump the title holders before they are ready. Holly, whose side are you on?
Brothers.
The
Beverly Brothers.
No.
Brothers Beverly.
Thank you.
Just brothers. That's how they're written down in here, by the way.
True story, not related.
No.
Did you see any of their... Did you look at them up at all?
The only looking up I did was Google Images.
Because they were actually a decent tag team before they went to the WWF, and I keep wanting to call them the Destruction Crew for some reason. And I know this is going to be annoying people that go, oh, obviously it's this, but yeah, fucking, I'm not Wikipedia, you prick.
What? You're not?
No, sometimes.
You don't always get you don't get everything right all the time?
Well, I don't want to admit to that, actually, because I'm quite an arrogant prick. So, sometimes my answers are misguided rather than being factually inaccurate. Let's go with that. So, kicks to the midsection in opposite corners, but when they look to whip the champions into one another, Earthquake reverses and sends Blake flying into a clothesline from Typhoon. Earthquake delivers the same treatment for Bo, and Blake is now a sandwich between the two big men. Not a filling I would want to be.
Nope.
Holly, if you were being sandwiched between the two big men,
no, thank you.
Who are you facing up, who are you backing off?
Oh, God. So gross.
No, I'm talking about an actual... I'm not talking about getting ploughed by both of them. I'm talking about...
but that's gross, though.
Who are you watching? Are you running at you? I think there's only one right answer. Yeah, well, of course it's Tuggers.
Yeah.
Tuggers got something about him, and Earthquake is a sweetheart, but he looks...
I'm sure they're both really nice people, but...
They are.
They need a shower.
What?
They need a shower.
Why?
So big and sweaty and just... Oh, no.
Hey, I'll have you know that Earthquake has had a Sega Mega Drive stored in his belly button for 5 years at this point, okay?
Gross.
So you go out on a date and you get a nice little game as well, alright?
Ugh, God.
Big fan of Japanese cuisine.
Okay.
That's just me. Sorry, I was just thinking about dinner later, just making conversation, actually.
I am hungry.
It's all right. We'll be at the break point soon. Just to say as well, this show is going to be a lengthy bastard. I mean, we're already 1 hour 40 in, so we're going to be breaking this up into 2 parts, but trust me, the second part will definitely be worth it with everything else that we've got planned for that section. Typhoon hits the ropes, and Bo, like his partner before him, also gets sandwiched. As the brothers Beverly look to prop themselves, the natural disasters collide on either side, crushing them together. Blake eats a back elbow from Typhoon as they appear to be the two legal men to start. Body slam from the big man, who now walks over his prone challenger, but he misses the following leg drop. The Brain compares this to the Hindenburg landing, which is the second show in a row we get a Hindenburg reference. What are the odds? Blake attempts to scoop Typhoon up for a body slam, but only succeeds in lifting him above his head before collapsing underneath the weight. And I will say, it was impressive that not only did he pick him up, but he arched back a little bit before he actually went down properly. Yeah. Very good. The pinfall looks a certainty until Bo breaks it up with a kick. Earthquake hits the ring and sends Bo to the outside as Typhoon whips Blake into the buckles and delivers an avalanche moments later. Another natural disaster in many respects. What it's called? Corner splash, avalanche, whatever you want to call it.
A running squish.
Well, it's obviously a running squish now. T-shirt. Just a big, like, either tuggers. I'm going tuggers. I want tuggers. Tuggers kind of flying in the air with the person back as silhouette into the running squish. Yeah. Got to be running squish.
I always call it that.
I love that. Sesame Street punches, Dick Guillotine, running squish. There are others. I just can't think of them at this moment. Earthquake looks to charge and squash Blake between he and his partner, but the challenger moves out of the way, causing the natural disaster to collide thanks to the help of Bo, who was holding the leg of Typhoon from the outside. As the official looks to get Earthquake out of the ring, the brothers Beverly double team Typhoon, which includes Blake elevating Bo, causing him to splash down on the big man. There we go. At the count of 2 on the cover, Typhoon kicks out, which sends Bo flying between the ropes and down to the outside. That's a trend of the night as well. Yep. More interesting than who the fuck Mr. Perfect's going to be siding with, but I digress. I cannot stress enough as well. Granted, there's backstage moments where they talk about it. They will not stop talking about it on commentary throughout the show. So I haven't mentioned it because...
tiresome.
Tedious. Irksome.
Ooh.
Just wrong. Irritating, yes. Well, I've lost my place, haven't I? But it was worth it, to be honest. At the count of 2 on the cover, Typhoon sends him out the ring. There he is. He's quickly back in the ring, though, and lands a number of right hands to the champion and follows in with a rope-assisted stomp. Heenan has breaking news for us, and this was a theme that he would often do, and that is Shawn Michaels has left Wembley Stadium. He does. It's like making, like they would say, an Elvis has left the building. They were doing this for Michaels, where they would say that about him, going like he's a big deal. And Heenan used to do a very good job of making sure Michaels seemed like he was a big deal way before he actually was.
Okay.
So credit to him. I mean, obviously, I assume he was probably told that this is the direction of travel, and to kind of lead us that way. But still, fair play to the man. Heenan has breaking news. Left. The camera closes in on the genius on the outside, and he simply says, "Those guys are so fat." Yes, they are, my good man.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah, well, they don't call him the genius for nothing.
Super clever.
Yep, super clever. Stupid intelligent.
Yeah.
Stupid intelligent. Yeah. From the second rope, Blake connects with a diving headbutt, aka what a maneuver, and follows in with a leg drop. There's a delay before he makes the cover, and deservedly, he only gets a count of 2. Tag made, and Bo leaps over the back of Blake and lands crotch first over the lower back of Typhoon, who was being draped over the top rope. Series of kicks to the midsection, and now Typhoon finds himself choked over the middle rope by both Beverly members in turn. Makes it sound like they're a country club. They probably are, to be fair. Series of kicks to the midsection, now Typhoon finds Yep. Blake back in and connects with a running crotch guillotine with a big man sagging over the second rope.
Do you want to know what I call that?
What?
The dick giddy up.
Holly, your homework after this is no, I'm dead serious. I want you to compile notes. From now, you don't have to go back. Every time you come up with the name of a move, I want the definition of what it is, because by the time we get through a few hundred episodes, I will have enough material from you that I can call an entire match on your verbiage.
God, do you imagine?
Yeah, we get just to see what people imagine this to look like. True. I think that'd be sensational.
Okay, I'll see what I can do.
Tag made, and Bo leaps over the back of crotch first. Sorry, the dick giddy up. Series of I can't put that as a t-shirt, sadly, but series of kicks to the midsection, and now Typhoon finds himself choked over the middle rope by both Beverly members in turn. Yeah, done that. Connects with a running. Yeah, tag back to Bo, and he scores with a double axe handle from the top rope to the back. Kick and punches land as Typhoon is struggling on his knees, and he's run face first into the boot of Blake standing on the apron. With the official distracted, Blake removes the tag rope and begins choking the champion before returning it into position before the referee returns. I have to say, it was done very slickly, actually.
It was actually, yeah.
Blake back in, and he delivers a double axe handle to the back before hitting a falling headbutt. But then, that gets him a near fall. Front face lock applied, and the brain asks on commentary, when was it the last time we saw a typhoon being dominated like this? Let me say this, the sexual activities of this gentleman do not concern me, and they shouldn't Mr. Heenan either. Do you reckon he likes to be...
Oh, good lord.
What do you reckon?
No.
Is he just a kind of hop-on love?
Very lazy lover.
Lazy lover.
Yeah.
Okay, so
you know that Phil Collins song?
Yeah.
He's a lazy lover.
Lazy lover, he tells her jump onto my dick. Yeah, I imagine, very much. Yeah, I can see that.
Just lies back. He's probably eating some fried chicken.
Yeah.
While it's all happening. Oh, finished, yeah. Bye.
Eating some fried chicken. Using his tits as a bib. I imagine, do you think that would be his KFC order of choice? A family bucket, for one?
Yeah.
Family bucket for one, also Sherry Martell's nickname. So... What?
That's very good, very quick.
Thank you.
Well
I'm quick in every respect,
good,
to be honest.
Good for you.
Yes. Good for... I tell you what, if my dick could have jumped further up in my body after that comment, that's the most emasculating thing.
Good for you.
Look at you finishing before we started. God, you just took your sock off. What's wrong with you? Well, I don't know, it's been a while.
Hey.
There you go. It's the effectiveness of the other person, I'd say, is what's because then it's not my fault. Not my fault.
True.
To quote Gene Snitsky. So I ejaculate quickly. Where are we? I didn't put that in my notes actually.
You didn't think we'd segue?
No, I didn't. I didn't. I was thinking about Typhoon being the target, and then I turned it on myself somehow. Chance to be a fine thing. Much like we saw in the opening contest of the night, when Typhoon does make the tag, the official is preoccupied and doesn't see it. Therefore, it doesn't count. Like saying surprise. Blake drapes Typhoon over the top rope and raises the legs, allowing Bo to deliver a clubbing blow to the back. Heenan advises the challengers not to waste their time and capitalise on the moment. Kicks to the ribs, but I'm sure the natural disasters would still eat them. A very unique choke now, standing on the bottom rope across the throat of the champion, which I actually thought was quite interesting. I don't think I've ever seen that.
Yeah.
Which I don't think I've seen before, as I've put in the notes. Typhoon is sent back first into the buckles, hard on 3 separate occasions, but he rebounds out to wipe out both challengers with a meaty clothesline. That sounds like something you'd order at a barbecue place. Imagine the natural disasters, like a barbecue joint.
Mm-hmm.
Meaty clothesline.
Yeah.
What would a running
That's like
squish
a
be?
Dirty sub, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm thinking what a running squish would be. I feel like it's some sort of marshmallow pudding.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what marshmallow
Maybe
pudding
like a
smalls.
really big, really big small, like really big one.
Yeah.
With a really gooey marshmallow in it.
Love a gooey marshmallow.
Yeah.
I rarely have a gooey marshmallow. I rarely have marshmallows.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't often have an open campfire going.
Do you not?
No.
Oh, man.
You know, one of those kind of fire pits that you get. Every time I see one, I was like, I could do that for the barbecue, but no. No, it's just the point, the time, effort. No, none of that. Can't be doing that. Meaty clothesline. Yeah, that's how we segued. He slowly crawls back to his partner, but is prevented from reaching home by Blake, who cuts him off. He hits the ropes and jumps into the arms of Typhoon, who is too slow in capitalising, and a missile dropkick by Bo to the back of Blake puts him in a pinning position. Still not enough for 3. I don't like the fact that he doesn't sell being dropkicked in the back, though. I find falling into it when you're kicked off. I expect like a
little something.
Yeah. Because then why sell a normal dropkick?
True.
Oh, because I didn't mean to hurt you. I meant to hurt the person on the other side of you. It's like the corner squishes.
Yeah.
Like when Earthquake got twatted with a running squish, Typhoon in the corner. Typhoon sells it. But when they run into someone in the middle, they're fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if I like wrestling. Sorry, I do. It's fine. It's fine. We've got more clubbing blows to the back, as I noticed that it is now that golden hour where the sun is coming down and it's slowly turning to nightfall. Very pretty, unlike these gentlemen. Kicks and right hands no longer seem to be having effect on Typhoon, who grabs Blake by the hair after he hits the ropes and slams him down face first into the canvas. From the outside, Bo pulls Earthquake off the apron as Genius hands Blake the metal scroll that he was holding. With the official focused on separating Earthquake from his intended meal, which is fucking dangerous now that I say that out loud, Blake cracks the scroll over the back of the head of Typhoon in the ring. Holly's getting ready to boo. Blake makes the cover, but doesn't see Earthquake coming, and he drops an elbow on the back of his neck. Both men in the ring are down as the official begins his count to 10. Vince says that all Typhoon has to do is sit up and make a tag to his partner. Heenan retorts, "You're asking a lot of him there to do a sit-up." Brilliant. Told you Heenan's good.
I did like it.
Yeah. Both men make the tag, and this may signal the end for the brothers Beverly as Earthquake lands thudding forearms to Bo before hip-tossing him clear across the ring. Bo, on wobbly feet, extends a hand as though to shake, but is instead sent crashing down with a belly-to-belly suplex. Earthquake runs his thumb across his throat, signalling this will be the end, and I wonder if that's how he orders pudding, because that is, I like to go,
ooh,
pudding. Okay. End of the meal, pudding.
Oh, is that
I feel
how
like,
you do it?
No, I do the...
Oh, you're... Oh, no, you're not one of those.
Can I have the bill? Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. What would you prefer? Garçon?
I mean, absolutely not.
What,
no.
What should I do?
You just... Eye contact.
Yeah, they don't like that.
Really?
From me.
Oh.
Yeah, because I'm licking my lips, to be fair. But I've got food around here, so... And they're like, oh, God, no.
God, okay. Oh,
yeah.
no, and it's not a... I don't mind a full-on, can we get the bill, but no hand gestures, please.
Only if they're far away and to save them the journey. If they're next to me, I'm not going... I don't do it if they're there.
Hope not.
So, can we just get the bill if that's okay?
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But if they're far away, to save them coming, I'll go...
Okay.
Like
right.
that, it's fine. But
sure.
you do talk like a deaf person.
Right.
Which is very strange, and I've never understood that. I know it's in... I can't remember which comedian stand-up routine it's in, but it's true.
Yeah.
Because my grandpa did it, and I've picked it up from him.
Okay.
So...
But you don't write checks anymore, so do you mimic the chip and pin machine? Do you hold up a bop and bop in like numbers?
Sorry, do I hold a what?
No, as in like bop in the numbers rather than sign a check.
No, I just go... like, so it's swiping a card.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Just to hold up my phone as if it's contactless and go, yep,
or
done.
yeah, exactly. Or I just go...
count
the cash.
Count
yeah,
the cash.
yeah. Lick your thumb.
God, chance would be a fine thing to have cash like
Yeah.
that. Oh, what? Yeah, I get
Make
out
it
my
rain.
I get out my money gun that
Yeah.
when I press it, it sprays money.
Realistically, all I use it for is Uno. I don't even know what we were talking about.
I don't either.
But that's great.
I don't know.
I've enjoyed that. Probably some
pudding.
wrestling
That's what
matches.
we were talking
Pudding.
about.
Oh yeah, that's how he orders pudding.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Just to summarise, he's fat. The brain says that usually.
Yeah.
I forgot that he said that.
Mm-hmm.
The brain says that he usually uses that signal to indicate that he wants extra pickle. Shoulder blocks in the corner, and we get one of those ridiculous leap kicks to the gut, but before he can go any further, Blake blindsides him from behind. Double team attempt by the brothers Beverly, but they are both knocked on their arse by a charging Earthquake off the ropes. All four men are briefly in the ring, but Typhoon quickly throws Blake to the outside. This isn't fair. This is now 8 against 1. With Bo in the corner, Earthquake delivers an running squish.
Yep.
And drives him into the canvas with a big power slam. Or upsy daisy dropsy, is that what it's called?
Yes.
We can feel the tremors as Earthquake jumps around.
No. I hate that.
They didn't even say that was me.
No, but he does it and I hate it.
He hits the ropes. I've got to know what this is.
Ooh.
He hits the rope, sends Blake flying off the apron and scores with the aftershock, or as Holly calls it,
The running sit down.
the running sit down. And then Banzai for some reason. 1, 2, 3. The winners of this match and still WWF Tag Team Champions, the Natural Disasters. The Genius stands on the apron to protest the decision, but is dragged over the ropes by Earthquake before he and Typhoon press him high into the air and dump him back over the ropes on the aisle side of the ring because reasons.
Get
Holly,
him in to get him out.
Apparently. First in, first off. What do you think of the match?
Do you know what? I've scored it higher than other previous ones, but I'm not fussed by natural disasters. They don't entertain me in the slightest. But I did put down, mate. Wow, I didn't know that was a thing.
Oh, bloody hell.
Wow.
Of course, truth.
God.
I have an erection. Carry on.
I put down, I'd actually like to see more Beverly Brothers matches.
Wow.
Just a little, not a lot. Just
no one said
one.
that.
Just one.
Maybe we'll find the 95 Royal Rumble because they're both in that match, I think.
Oh, okay.
Maybe we'll find it. Like, I don't know where. It's the 95 Royal Rumble.
But yeah, 1.75.
1.5 stars. Still better than I thought it was going to be.
Yes.
Doesn't mean it was good.
No.
Little bit too long. Fine.
A little bit.
It was believable, though, the way in which, again, much like the Legion of Doom were being taken advantage of, or Hawk was earlier,
Yeah.
this one kind of works as well. So I'm not mad at it.
No.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, maybe you were preempting with your little down under accent.
Yeah, that's definitely what happened.
We head backstage where the Bushwhackers are with Mean Gene and they are already both screaming their tits off. At least they're not eating cheese. Bonus.
I'd rather have that, I think. Yeah.
Oh, I can't.
Brilliant.
Butch says that the two of them are having so much fun at SummerSlam and they still have no idea what's coming up and whose corner Mr. Perfect will be in later tonight.
Snore me now.
Holly, how would you describe the physical appearance of the Bushwhackers?
Unsettling.
If the answer isn't Popeye having a stroke, it is probably missing something. Gene directs his next comment to Luke and says that there is a dentist who is looking to sell him a special London bridge. Luke gives a big toothless smile to really help the joke not land home. Luke doesn't need a London... Sorry. I don't need a London bridge, mate!
Oh my God. Wow.
I aimed away again a little bit.
You did. You're saving some ears.
I am trying to do any loud ones because I normally lean in for it. I do try and aim away now.
Someone did actually say they acknowledged that they hadn't been made deaf since. So just letting you know, it's going down well.
Who acknowledged? Because I didn't get that message.
No.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, you said that.
No,
oh, okay.
I'll tell you later.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's good to know that people are listening, quite frankly. Feel free to... I'll tell you what. Hey, this person, whoever this mystery person is, I'm going to assume man, just because of stereotypes and demographics. If the bearded man wanted to then message anyone else, me, that is absolutely fine. I'm willing to take on constructive criticism. So where do we go from here? Gene directs his next comment to Luke and says, no London dentist, we've done that. As Mean Gene understands it, the Bushwhackers have been extended a very special invitation by the royal family to have dinner at Buckingham Palace. Shh! Only Luke and I know now, Mean Gene, and so do you! That one's a bit louder. That's a bit louder.
That's a bit louder.
But we haven't gone into the danger zone yet.
No.
My voice is fucked. The Bushwhackers are looking forward to it as they've been told that they will have their favourite meal. Next question for you. What would you have had as the Bushwhackers' favourite meal?
Something with mashed potato.
Like Bodger and Badger?
Yes, that is exactly how I picture it.
Okay.
Really, no cutlery, just a big bowl.
I imagine them to get a raw T-bone steak. One's chewing one side, one's chewing the other,
Lady and the Trumpet,
and they're growling at each other
like a dog fighting over.
Yeah,
steak.
Luke's got. Sorry, not Luke. Luke. Yeah, he's got a bit of a different kind of setup because he's got to get the meat between his gums. Oh. So he's got to kind of get a bit where you can get the teeth down. Realistically, he could bite either side of the T-bone. And not have any issues. Whereas Butch, you can put Butch on any end of the meat you want, and he's ready for a tussle. Oh. But no, it turns out it's royal sardines served on royal china.
Okay.
According to Butch, the rumour has it that they may even get to sit on the royal throne. Luke tells cousin Butch to make, although it says Birch here, which is funny. Luke tells cousin Butch to make sure he brings something to read. I didn't know he could read.
Bit of Biff and Chip.
I wouldn't go that far. Wouldn't go that far. Fortunately, they are cut off, and we see a brief shot of Wembley Stadium before Vince quickly sends us back to Lord Alfred Hayes.
Thank God.
Lord Al is doing his best David Attenborough impression as he whispers outside the changing room of the Ultimate Warrior. I believe my exhaustive search for Mr. Perfect has come to an end. He's been led to believe that Mr. Perfect is currently inside the Ultimate Warrior's changing room. Lord Al says, I'm going to breach my own code of ethics and not knock, but simply open and surprise them. Jerry Lawler has a similar ethics, but on a certain changing room. Lord Al struggles to get the door open a fraction, and just when it looks like he might get in, a hand quickly shuts it in his face. That doesn't necessarily mean that Mr. Perfect is not inside that dressing room, but it certainly was a shock and a vulgar act of rudeness, said the man who didn't knock and enter the changing room. Back to ringside we go. Love Lord Al. Repo Man vs. Crush. I'm not even going to give that any fanfare going into it because I'll be honest, so in the order in which I watched this, chronologically, but still, I stopped at the Bushwhacker promo. And then
okay.
I know you said, I went beyond that,
yes.
Saw what the next match was and went, was it you said I audibly said, nah, fuck that?
Yes. in the most eloquent way possible.
Yeah, it's easy for you to say.
I know.
So, what about Repo Man versus Crush was not tickling your pickle? Pickle.
Oh.
I had to slit my throat there.
Extra mayo.
Extra.
How? What?
Extra mayo is not what.
He also said he does. If
Oh,
you
did
go
he?
back,
I'm so
did
sorry.
Also say that. He
Okay,
did.
right. Sorry, compose myself. Carry on.
And why? Why is this hit? This weirdly also for me somehow is worse than Nails and Virgil.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I don't know why. I think probably because it was just I'd been watching it longer. So
fair enough. I will say, unquestionably, to quote Vince McMahon, this match content is better. Because the other thing was a choker clothesline, a shit clothesline, and then like some sort of sexual assault choke. I don't know what it was. Prison rules sleeper, I think they call it. So whose side were you on?
Oh, I just don't care. If I had to pick one, Crush.
I knew it was going to be Crush because no one's backing the Repo Man by choice. No one is. Thankfully, and I do mean thankfully, Crush wasn't allowed to do an interview. Yes. You know who both of these men are in their previous history, right?
Yes, but don't ask me because we've definitely talked about this before.
Both in Demolition.
Yes, thank you.
Although Repo Man couldn't look more different, whereas Crush just hasn't bothered to paint his face and get into his dominatrix gear. Bruh. This is certainly not what I would consider to be a match that was highly anticipated. We see Repo Man standing ready and waiting in the ring as his music plays. I much prefer him as Smash, if I'm honest. Oh. That was his character in Demolition, okay. I would much rather Smash... Well, no, I wouldn't. I don't think so. Actually, only just realised that this is a match between two former members of Demolition. That's where the penny dropped for me. Mm-hmm. Thankfully, it doesn't look as though Crush is going to get the opportunity to speak, as when he does, bruh, he tends to annoy me. Bruh. And
is he Will Ospreay?
That's bruv.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
All right, bruv. I'm going to come and murk you. Fuck off, okay? We see Repo Man standing ready and wait. Oh, sorry. I've got a ring notification. I know, honestly, it just blocked the sentence I was reading. That was so annoying. We see Repo Man standing... Sorry, middle class issue that, isn't it? We see Repo Man standing ready and waiting in the ring as his music plays. Oh no, we've done this. I've literally got... I wasn't even reading that. That's so upsetting. An interesting camera shot from the rafters as we can hear the voice of Howard Finkel introduce Crush, despite the fact he is making himself visible at ringside with no microphone near his face.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm glad you spotted that as well. I don't know why I needed to look, though. As soon as I heard his voice, I was looking to see where he was. No need.
No.
Doesn't make a difference. The bell sounds, and as Crush is still warming up by stretching using the ropes, he's attacked from behind with familiar double axe handle strikes to the back. These appear to have little to no effect, and Crush slowly turns around to face Repo Man, who offers up his hands in apology. Crush grabs him by the neck and presses him overhead, where he continues to press him up and down until he slams him down to the canvas. Impressive, he's a big boy.
I mean, that is impressive, yeah.
Repo Man, you still don't care though.
No.
Repo Man rolls to the outside, favouring his back, but before he can return, he's blindsided with a charging clothesline. Crush rolls Repo Man back into the ring, and again he tries to beg off from one knee. Big punches to the breadbasket, but Repo Man ducks a clothesline before leaping into the arms of the Hawaiian. Crush carries him over, because he's the original Hawaiian Crush, bruh. Crush carries him over to the corner and lies him across the top rope, where he begins to uncork a series of right hands to the ribs, not too dissimilar to what they did in their Demolition days. Kick to the midsection for good measure, as Repo slides back into the ring. When did he leave? We don't know. Off the ropes, and Crush delivers a decent backbreaker. He briefly takes his eyes off the ball and poetically receives a thumb to his eye, breaking the momentum. Breaking the momentum. Repo slowly stalks behind Crush and lands a right hand before delivering a back suplex. No sold by Crush, who's now Crash on this, who is instantly back on his feet, and he's still looking for an Englishman to fight. That's all I know. He connects with a belly-to-belly suplex. Another backbreaker by Crush, who now ascends to the top rope, but he misses with a knee drop attempt. Repo Man lands another series of punches on a down Crush, but again they appear to have little effect. For the third time in the match, Repo Man begs off before planting a thumb to the eye socket. Whip is reversed, but Crush ducks. This is rapidly falling apart, this one.
A little bit.
Whip is reversed, but Crush ducks too early and finds himself driven face first into the canvas. First cover of the match gets a near fall, and the kick out sends Repo Man between the ropes and down to the outside.
Oh,
again,
yeah.
Theme continues. Looking like a creeper, Repo darts his glance around ringside before climbing very slowly to the top rope. When he does eventually take flight, Crush catches him and turns it into a very nice power slam. Really enjoyed that, actually. Crush is signalling that this may be the end, as he does indeed apply the cranium crunch. Sounds like a cereal.
Yeah, oh, it does.
Repo struggles under the grip and falls to his backside after jumping in the air, where he apparently signals his submission as the bell sounds. The winner of this match by submission, Crush.
Oh.
McMahon tells us that Crush is a proponent of IcoPro for everybody that cares about their body, and then also includes Mean Gene. Holly, what do you think of the match?
I was glad when it finished. Really glad when it finished. I gave it 0.5. And do you know why?
Yeah.
It was a really good length. It was really short.
Yeah, good size.
Fucking awful.
1 star, because I enjoyed the power slam from the top rope. The press slam with multiple upsies, downsies.
Yeah, that was
good.
That was good.
That was it.
Yeah.
That's all I got for it, to be fair. It's a nothing match, no one cares.
No.
They do build up.
Beer run match.
It is.
Big
They
time.
also, although you wouldn't have had time in Nails and Virgil, they also do, McMahon specifically does a job of building up Crush as being a young upcomer to keep your eyes out on, and, well, obviously that doesn't really pan out. But yeah, it's just, again, it's a why is this here match.
Yeah, I agree.
I can't imagine anyone, I would be willing to bet, not one person in the arena, and say, what match are you looking forward to the most? Went, tell you what, Crush and Repo Man. That's where I'm getting my rocks off.
Do you imagine?
Sadly, yeah. But then again, there's about, unless you're saying one of 2 matches, I don't know what you're doing.
Well, yeah, true.
I wouldn't even accept Legion of Doom match as an answer, I don't think.
No.
And that's probably the 3rd that I'd accept.
Gosh.
Undertaker, maybe? I don't know.
Wow.
Just for the gimmick side of it. But yeah, I mean, it's an interesting point to kind of bring this part of the show to a close, because as I said, this is going to be a bit of a monster and we've still got a good half of the show left to go. So I think this is the bit where we will cut it off. But before we do cut it off, because this is going to be uploaded in 2 parts, please can you do a social rundown for where people can find us?
To. wintwicepod@gmail.com. Wintwicepod for Instagram and YouTube.
And there you can send us show suggestions, all that good stuff. We're making this more abrupt and less polished of an end than we normally would, because part 2 will be coming up shortly. But until then, I hope everyone's had a lovely time with this. Take care, and we'll see you for part 2.
Bye.
Until next time, this has been a Win Twice Wrestling production. Peace out.